Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. The end of the world. Many children, many blessings, the school beauty comes to your door at the beginning. Chapter 1. 5 years of the end of the world. Blue Star, Nebula Barrier in Kyushu Guianfu City. I finally saved enough for this period of barrier rent. Yi Yuni returned to the hut, put down the farm tools, and sighed. He looked at the evening sky. In an hour or two, there will be a blood moon hanging in the sky. Although 5 years have passed. But that night 5 years ago is still vivid in my mind. That day, he had just traveled through time and wanted to experience the brand new civilization of Blue Star. But, that night, the blood moon is in the sky. The entire Blue Star was shrouded in blood. Changes are coming. With the blessing of magical power, the plants and animals of Blue Star grew wildly, and then started a crazy fight against the human race as if taking revenge. In front of him, a man's head was sucked by a crazy ivy, and it was crushed to pieces, with blood-red substance splashing all over him. Changes occurred, and no one could react. Human casualties were heavy. Order is broken. Technology is lost. 1 year, people discovered that even if technology is lost, they are not helpless. Some people also gained strength under the blood moon. Just like those animals and plants. Bloodthirsty and violent animals are called exotic beasts. People who gain power are called aliens. As the alien grows over time or swallows the crystal core of the alien beast, its strength will increase. Therefore, various places began to build barriers and high walls around the aliens according to the city. Contain survivors and preserve the fire of humanity. But, in this end of the world, order has been re-established. Strangers are human beings, and only by becoming strangers can they be respected and gain power. But ordinary people like them can only work hard within the barriers. Like worker bees, they support the superiors of the new order. Yi Yuni sighed as he thought about it. Lying on the small bed. I briefly gained some peace of mind about collecting the rent. At the barrier, people are divided into 3, 6 or 9 grades. The top one is the alien. Secondly, they are the rent payers. They are all within the barrier. Although they are not absolutely safe, they can live in peace and order can be somewhat guaranteed. The worst are the old, weak, sick and disabled who cannot afford to pay rent and are driven out of the barriers and rely on the barriers to live. Their safety is not guaranteed at all, and the thick blood on the fortress walls is proof of their lives. In this end of the world, even a small corner of peace has become a luxury. Yi Yuni thought, with 10,000 MMP running through his heart. He might be the worst time traveler. There is no golden finger left unsaid. Still encountering the apocalypse. Become a worker bee. Exit. Next moment, the light curtain suddenly popped up. Congratulations to the host for opening the system of many children and many blessings in the last days. For a moment, Yi Yuni was stunned. System of many children and many blessings. Many children and many blessings in the end of the world system. The host can get rewards for marrying a wife. The host's wife can get god-level rewards when she becomes pregnant. The birth of the host's offspring can earn super god-level rewards. Many children, many blessings. The more children you have, the greater the reward. Gift package for newbies is distributed. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 6 late-stage bronze exotic beast crystal cores. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained a bottle of low-level medicine, which can heal skin wounds. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained a bronze-level advancement card. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained a battle axe that can be promoted. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained 1,000 cubic meters of system space. Light curtains popped up. Yi Yuni was also stunned. What he is most concerned about is the late bronze-level alien beast crystal core and the bronze-level advanced card. Over the past 5 years, humans have compiled a set of alien and beast-level cards. They are bronze, silver, gold, diamond, star, and king level. Each one has 3 levels, early, middle and late. At the moment, Yi Yuni directly uses the bronze-level advanced card. Next moment, a force surged into Yi Yuni's body. It's as if the 2 channels of Ren and Du have been opened. At that moment, Yi Yuni shook his fist. Boom! A sonic boom sounded immediately. This, is it the power of aliens? Moreover, this is just the strength of a stranger who has just entered the bronze level. Then, a light curtain popped up in front of Yi Yuni. Name, Yi Yuni. Height, 185 centimeters. Level, Early Bronze. Skill, none. Weapon, tomahawk that can be upgraded. After the light curtain pops up, Yi Yuni's mind moved. A huge axe as tall as a man fell into Yi Yuni's hands. That weight made Yi Yuni, who had become a stranger, feel his arms suddenly sinking. He looked at the great axe. The giant axe was as tall as a man, and the whole body was dark. Only the axe blade was white, glowing with a cold light. Just by looking at it, you can tell how sharp and heavy it is. What a weapon! Yi Yuni packed them up, looked at several cyan crystal nuclei, and took out one and began to absorb it. Only, the rate of absorption is extremely slow. It seems that it is impossible to eat a fat man in one bite. Yi Yuni thought for a while, then picked up a crystal core and walked out of the house. Today, you can improve your life. As for the future, it seems that we must quickly start the great cause of having many children and many blessings. After a while, Yi Yuni came back carrying a boar leg and other things. Of course, there were 9 middle-stage bronze and 9 early-stage bronze cores in his pocket. It is equivalent to spending only 1 early-stage bronze core. At this time, Yi Yuni walked through the market with swagger. The survivors next to him looked at the wild boar legs and other things carried by Yi Yuni. My mouth is almost watering with greed. Their salary for a month's hard work is 2 early-stage bronze cores, 1 to pay rent and 1 to keep for some rice bran and other things that can satisfy their hunger. Even so, I still don't have enough to eat. When you are hungry, you can only rely on drinking water to stay satisfied. There are also people who want to go up and grab it, but not to mention Yi Yuni's tall figure and the strength of carrying it on his shoulders, they just eat rice bran all day long and work for a day. It is also powerless. Now they are all exhausted, not to mention robbing, their desires are low every day now, except for eating and sleeping, they have no desire to have children. Yi Yuni returned to the hut with his things while everyone was watching. At the same time, far away, a girl also looked at Yi Yuni. The girl's eyes are clear and dark, and her palm-sized face with willowy eyebrows and cherry lips arouses endless reverie. Tall and slim, even in this malnourished world, he is still curvy. Even though the pair of slender legs were wrapped in burlap, they were still eye-catching. But, the girl was currently using a cane, and a scar appeared on one of her thin legs, with blood oozing out. She looked forward, with despair in her eyes. She originally came from a well-to-do family, and was the center of attention at school. She had numerous confessors, and she originally had a great future, but the apocalypse came. Her family was torn apart by strange beasts. She was lucky enough to get into the barrier and through hard work she managed to get through. However, yesterday, she was injured while working. It was almost time to pay the rent, and she would definitely not be able to pay it. She was going to borrow it from her neighbor. But I kept hitting a wall. In this apocalyptic world, when food rations are not enough, who will borrow them from outside? Can't pay rent, can only be driven out of the barrier. Think of this. Jo Ywe couldn't help but shudder. If she goes outside the barrier like this, she will only die, and she may not die from a strange beast, but be bullied to death by people outside the barrier. She looked at Yi Yuni entering the room from a distance and gritted her teeth. With the last glimmer of hope, he walked toward the hut on crutches. Here, Yi Yuni is preparing stew and cooking for a good meal. Next moment, there was a knock on the door. Yi Yuni opened the door. Then I saw Jo Ywe standing at the door. At this time she was holding on to a cane. He bit his lip lightly, looking ashamed to open his mouth. God feels pity for you. Yi Yuni looked at Jo Ywe and was also stunned. So beautiful, such a figure. It can also be said that small branches bear fruit. Before the end of the world, she was definitely a school beauty level existence. But now, in a world where strength is respected, the name of school beauty is more like a vase. However, Yi still doesn't know what she wants to do. Speak now. What's wrong? A cold voice made Jo Ywe's body tremble. Then she looked up at Yi. There was hope in his eyes. Hello, can I borrow some money from you to pay for the barrier rent? Jo Ywe said tremblingly. She was now on the edge of the cliff. After all, no one around him has much food left. If Yi Yuni didn't help her, She may be on her way to death. And there's no need to wait to be kicked out. After all, it is better to commit suicide inside the barrier than to linger outside the barrier, suffer humiliation and finally die miserably. At least you can still have some dignity. Yi Yuni also understood. Looking at her now, I can give it to you, no need to borrow it, I'll give it to you directly. Really? Jo Ywe became excited for a moment, and then looked at Yi Yuni, as if she had thought of something. It has been 5 years since the apocalypse, and she is no longer as naive as before. What are your conditions? Be my wife and have children with me. Jo Ywe bit her lip and froze in place. Although she also knew that this was the case, now Yi Yuni said it herself. She still couldn't accept it. He stood there for a while. She clenched her fists and looked at Yi Yuni. I promise. Next moment, in front of Yi Yuni, a light curtain popped up. Congratulations to the host for successfully marrying a wife. Gain the ability to quickly absorb crystal cores. Quickly absorb crystal nuclei, isn't this what he wants? After all, he just tried it, and although he could absorb the crystal core, the speed was too slow. At that moment, he took out a late-stage bronze crystal core. A moment. Absorb. Name: Yi Yuni. Height: 185 centimeters. Level: middle bronze. Skill: quick absorption. Weapon: tomahawk that can be upgraded can be included in the system. Real. Present. Yi Yuni directly absorbed all the other crystal nuclei. Name: Yi Yuni. Height: 185 centimeters. Level: early silver stage. Skill: quick absorption. Weapon: tomahawk that can be upgraded. With the influx of a more violent and powerful force, Yi Yuni looked at the attribute panel and saw that he had directly entered the silver level. To know, in a small fortress like the Nebula Barrier, the silver level experts are already considered to be near the top. Here, Yi Yuni looked at Jo Ywe, with some softness in his eyes. But, the next moment, Jo Ywe's face turned pale, her body went limp and she was about to fall backwards. Yi Yuni also took a step forward. He hugged Jo Ywe and then hugged her princess. The soft feeling made Yi Yuni's heart move. Jo Ywe also felt weightless, and then fell into a hard embrace. She raised her eyes and saw that she was in Yi Yuni's arms. This embrace, hard and powerful, so reassuring. Yi Yuni kicked the door shut, then put her on the small bed. Then he ripped open her linen pants. Jo Ywe looked at it and whispered, then a blush rose on her face. The whole person shrank back. But then she looked into Yi Yuni's eyes, bit her lip, and tentatively asked, can you wait until night? Yi Yuni, little girl, what are you thinking about? I'm applying medicine to you. At that moment, without saying anything, he directly grabbed Jo Ywe's slender ankles and pulled her over. Jo Ywe saw that her temptation was useless. Now I lie down with my eyes closed and let you pick it up. However, then a sharp pain came. It came from the legs. Ah, Jo Ywe whispered, then raised her upper body and saw Yi Yuni applying medicine to her. After the severe pain, there was still some comfort. A short time, her wounds, under the influence of the medicine, were healing visibly to the naked eye. Yi Yuni looked at it. Is this medicine so useful? The products produced by the system must be high quality. Jo Ywe also looked at Yi Yuni with a different look. You know, in such an apocalyptic world, medicines are already in short supply, and medicines for bruises and injuries are even rarer. Such medicine for bruises and injuries is no longer accessible to their class. How could he use such a precious thing for himself? At that moment, she also felt a warmth that she had never felt since the end of the world. Yi Yuni looked at her, carrying the boar legs and other food. You lie there for a while, I'll cook and eat later. Oh. Jo Ywe gave up the idea of helping after hearing the unreasonable voice, and sat on the small bed holding her legs. Half an hour later, the smell of meat filled the cabin. And it spreads out. Jo Ywe's stomach growled as she smelled the aroma. She didn't know how long ago it had been since she last smelled the aroma of meat. Yi Yuni took out the meat and put it on the table. Then take the bowls and chopsticks and put them away. Come down and eat. Oh, okay. Jo Ywe came down, while Yi Yunjo went to get other things. After a while, Yi Yuni sat on the table. He saw that in his bowl, the meat had been piled up like a small tower. Jo Ywe only had broth and no minced meat. Even the broth is just a little bit. Jo Ywe was just about to drink. Wait, Yi Yuni said. Jo Ywe looked at him and consciously put down the bowl, put her hands on her legs, and looked at the broth. It seemed that the broth was leaving her. But, the next moment, a large piece of meat fell into her bowl. Jo Ywe. For a moment, her eyes widened. I couldn't believe what I saw. Such a big piece of meat. Is this for her? Is this something she can eat? Really? Yi Yuni looked at her frozen in place. Eat, then tear the meat into pieces and eat it yourself. What? Finished? Can I eat it again? This. Jo Ywe is almost crying. At that moment, she picked up the bowl and started to devour it. With such a big boar leg and other things, the two of them naturally didn't finish it, so they had to work hard to finish half of it. After eating, Yi Yuni went out. I looked at the blood moon in the sky, it was still so strange. However, this time, his mood was different. Then he turned his head and walked into the house. At this time, Jo Ywe had already hid under the quilt. Seeing Yi Yuni walking in, her pretty face turned red. Honey, it's time to rest. Spend the night. The next day, in the morning, Yi Yuni woke up, and then looked at Jo Ywe, who was still sleeping soundly next to him. The next moment, a light screen popped up in front of Yi Yuni. Congratulations to the host wife for her successful pregnancy. Get God-level hunting skill rewards. A moment, Yi Yuni felt that his body had a lot more muscle memory and hunting skills. It was as if he was already a hunter clawing his way out of a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. Even the eyes are cold and stern. He brought up his personal panel. Name, Yi Yuni. Height, 185 centimeters. Level, early silver stage. Skills, quick absorption, God-level hunting skills. Weapon, tomahawk that can be upgraded. Yi Yuni also gently put his hand on Jo Ywe's belly. Unexpectedly, this actually penetrated his soul. Tisk tisk, not bad, not bad. Here, Jo Ywe also woke up. Seeing that Yi Yuni was awake, he looked at the light outside, became excited, changed his clothes and went to cook. After dinner, Jo Ywe is also preparing to go to work. Just stay at home today, Yi Yuni said, then picked up the giant axe by the wall. I will go out of the barrier today to hunt strange beasts. Hunting exotic beasts. One sentence made Jo Ywe take a breath of air. For ordinary people, hunting exotic beasts is equivalent to committing suicide. However, when she looked at Yi Yuni, an incredible idea suddenly occurred to her. Are you a stranger? Yes, I just became one. I just want to go out and give it a try. Yi Yuni looked at the giant axe in his hand and whispered, when we come back today, we can move to the depths of the barrier and change rooms. Deep within the barrier. This is something Jo Ywe never dared to think about. You know, the depths of the barrier are places where aliens live. In comparison, outside the barrier is hell, here they are the human world, and deep inside the barrier, it may be heaven. Be careful, husband. Jo Ywe approached Yi and helped him tidy up his clothes. She was still a little uncomfortable with this title. After all, she had only been called him for a day and was not used to it yet. Yi Yuni nodded and walked out of the room. Although it felt good last night. But a good man has his ambitions everywhere. Today, he wanted to break through the barrier. In this world, big fists are king. After he walked out. Carry the giant axe on your back. Outside, many people looked at him. Everyone was stunned when they looked at the giant axe he was carrying. Looking at the people outside who got up early to prepare for work, Yi Yuni also frowned. Why do these people look so bad and have dark circles under their eyes? Uncle Chen, what's wrong? Didn't you sleep well last night? Yi Yuni looked at an old man not far away. Uncle Chen, people nearby. At this moment, everyone looked at Yi Yuni with the urge to kill him. Are you embarrassed to ask? Haven't you counted whether they slept well or not? First the stew. As soon as they smelled the fragrance, the gluttons were about to come out, and the rice bran in their hands suddenly lost its fragrance. I almost didn't eat at night. I smelled the aroma of meat for several hours. Then, I was going to sleep after a tiring day. You're starting to turn the tables. Until midnight, your sisters, who can sleep? Ah, Uncle Chen was also helpless. Instead of answering Yi Yuni's words, he looked at the giant axe on his back and asked, where are you going? Beyond the barrier, hunt strange beasts. After these 2 words were spoken, everyone was stunned. Looking at Yi Yuni, there was an incredible expression on his face. What the hell? Don't want to die. Did you eat all the rent and food rations last night, and then had no way out today? In their confused and shocked looks, Yi Yuni left directly. After a while, he came to the edge of the barrier. Approaching the barrier, Yi Yuni moved his eyes upward, looking at the majestic barrier. So high, it is indeed a barrier to their safety. At this time, many strangers were also coming and going around the barrier. Compared to Yi Yuni's clothes, they were much better. Most of them wear metal armor. There are even battle armors sewn from exotic animal skins. As for weapons, there are all kinds of weapons, including knives, forks, swords and halberds. However, compared to Yi Yuni who is alone, they are more likely to be in groups. Form a team and hunt exotic beasts together. Here, someone also paid attention to Yi Yuni. However, most of them only took a glance. After all, where is Yi Yuni wearing? Even if he is a foreigner, I am afraid he is still in the early bronze stage. Not much better than ordinary people. Bringing such a strange person along, not to mention helping, might be a drag. Just when Yi Yuni was about to leave alone, a voice came. Brother, come to our team. Yi Yuni turned around and looked over, only to see a big gold tooth speaking towards him. Next to him, there were several men standing, all looking at him. No need, I can do it myself. Yi Yuni shook his head, turned around and walked out of the barrier. Here, when Da Jinya heard Yi Yuni's decisive refusal, he also became enthusiastic, his eyes were cold and stern, and he snorted coldly. A man next to him sprayed wine on his knife, then wiped it, and said while wiping it, "What do you call a person like this? It looks like an early-stage bronze sword without any armor." The big golden tooth glanced at the man. This time we go out to hunt the late bronze beasts, we must have a guarantee. If we encounter a tough situation, pushing this kid will give us time to escape. As soon as the words came out, everyone was stunned. But this boy dared to reject us. Da Jinya was about to say something, but was interrupted by a woman next to him. Okay, hurry up and get ready to go. If that kid goes out alone, there's a good chance he won't be able to come back. After hearing this, everyone nodded and immediately prepared things and left the barrier. Yi Yun escaped from the barrier, looked at the dense jungle outside, kicked off his feet, and rushed out. With god-level hunting skills. At this time, Yi Yuni was like the god of death walking in the darkness. Soon, he just heard a rustling sound not far away. Gradually, the sound gets louder and louder. Yi Yuni climbed up the tree directly. Then stared into the distance. Just saw a dozen strange beasts rushing towards him. Tide of small beasts. At the head are 3 late bronze wind-chasing leopards. Extremely fast. Behind them are some low-level exotic beasts. Yi Yuni waited patiently when they came below Yi Yuni. He jumped down with his axe and struck at a wind-chasing leopard. Poof! The sound of flesh and blood shattering sounded. An axe cut it off from the head. Split the storm-chasing leopard's head in half. A dark green crystal core was also pushed away some distance. Next moment, Yi Yuni punched with one hand, from bottom to top, hitting the chin of a wind-chasing leopard nearby, and the powerful force lifted it up. Then, the sound of breaking wind came. A cold light flashed. The wind-chasing leopard's abdomen was cut open, and its shattered internal organs were scattered in the air, mixed with hot blood, like a goddess scattering flowers. The sudden change caused the group of alien beasts to suddenly become confused. The last storm-chasing leopard was also the first to react among the remaining strange beasts. It went straight up the tree, ready to turn around and attack Yi Yuni. The moment it turns around, its pupils shrank suddenly, and in the reflection of its pupils, a giant axe came towards it at great speed. Poof! The giant axe was driven into the head, nailing it completely to the tree. The body was drooping and lifeless. Instant kill. 3 storm-chasing leopards. After that, Yi Yuni looked like a ghost and rushed towards the remaining beasts. Click. A crisp sound. The head of a strange beast was twisted off by Yi Yuni. Click, click, bang, poof, with the blessing of god-level hunting skills and early silver level. At this moment, Yi Yuni seemed like a wolf that had entered the sheepfold. One move at a time. It's all murder. Hand, fist, elbow, knee. Every move takes away the life of a strange beast. As the killing progressed, Yi Yunyi's movements became faster and faster, and his entire body skills were fully displayed. After a few breaths, Yi Yunyi was the only one standing there. With a slight jump, he pulled out the giant axe that was nailed deep into the giant tree. Boom! The body of the wind-chasing leopard also fell to the ground immediately. Yi Yunyi then picked up the dark green crystal core in the distance, then smashed open the heads of other alien beasts and took out all the crystal cores. Yi Yunyi looked at the crystal core, directly absorbed the crystal nuclei of the 3 wind-chasing leopards. The next moment, a burst of energy suddenly poured into Yi Yunyi's body. However, this time there was no upgrade. It seems that the higher the level, the greater the energy required. Low-level crystal nuclei like this may require a massive accumulation to help him enter the next level. Thinking of this, Yi Yunyi stopped absorbing the remaining crystal cores. It's not very useful anyway, but you can go back and improve your life. Then Yi Yunyi threw several higher-level exotic beasts directly into the system space. After a while, Yi Yunyi encountered several small beasts again. After solving it, he also felt something was wrong. How come these strange beasts feel like they are running for their lives? There is something deep down. Yi Yunyi headed towards the depths. After a while, he just smelled the strong smell of blood. He climbed up the giant tree in a few steps. Look, not far away. The next moment, he was stunned. What's this? Not far away, several huge ants were frantically eating exotic animals. Each ant is 2 meters long, extremely huge. Just looking at the size, it is about the same size as a brown bear before the end of the world. But the body was glowing with golden light, and a pair of powerful jaws were gnawing at the alien beast. With an easy pinch, the alien beast's bones were broken. Powerful King Kong ant, a strange beast in the early stage of silver. Yi Yunyi looked at them with burning eyes. This is good stuff. However, even if he had god-level hunting skills, he would not be able to gain any benefit from dealing with so many powerful diamond ants by himself. At that moment, his mind moved. There was wind under my feet, and I placed the strange beasts I had just slaughtered in several places. After eating the strange beast, the powerful King Kong ant smelled the smell of blood. Which way to go? Yi Yunyi hid behind the tree and watched a powerful Vajra ant come over and eat the corpse of the alien beast. There was no nonsense at the moment, he just stepped out and struck down with a battle axe. Boom! A bang! The head of the powerful King Kong ant was severely smashed into the soil. Squeak! The next moment, there was a harsh sound like metal rubbing against each other. The powerful Vajra ant under the axe slowly raised its head. So hard, Yi Yunyi looked at the slightly deformed head of the powerful Vajra ant, felt the slightly numb arms, and his eyes turned cold. The axe just now really seemed to hit the steel ingot. You can't fight like this. Yi Yunyi also understood when he looked at the delicate connection between the head and the body of the powerful Vajra ant. At that moment, he held the tail of his axe and ducked to the side of the powerful Vajra ant. Use waist strength. The body turns around. The whole axe swings round. An axe. Break the sky. GG. The powerful Vajra ant felt the sound of the wind and also let out a roar. Clang. A bang. A huge ant head flew out. In the air. Yi Yunyi's hand has already penetrated the ant's head. Absorb. When Yi Yunyi landed, several other powerful King Kong ants have already crawled over quickly. Yi Yunyi looked at it with a cold expression. A big battle. Coming. At the same time, far away, a group of people is galloping on the road. Although the road at this time is no longer as flat as before the end of the world, it is already riddled with holes. The leader was riding a wind-chasing leopard, with a long scar on his face extending from his eyes. Brother Chang, I can't see the nebula barrier in the distance. We can settle there directly and develop there in the future. Behind, the man driving the carriage shouted loudly towards Scarface at the front. Okay, Scarface heard about the nebula barrier and nodded. As far as he knew, the nebula barrier was just a small barrier. The city lord should be like the one in the late silver stage, which was enough for them to station. After all, the rest of their team is in the early silver stage, and he is in the middle stage of the silver stage. In such a small barrier, he is also a top-level existence. After waiting, we can also have a good time, haha, after all, the 2 eldest ladies of the Han family are so beautiful. Scarface laughed. Next to them, several brothers on mounts also had strange smiles on their faces, and they had already begun to fantasize. The man driving the carriage even opened the curtain of the carriage. A steel cage emerged. Inside, there were two girls. They looked so similar that they were twins at first glance. Willow eyebrows and cherry lips, skin whiter than snow. She was wearing a white pleated skirt, but the snow-white skirt was already stained with mud and blood. At this time, both of them were hugging a pair of slender legs, putting their faces on their knees, crying so hard, their long eyelashes trembling slightly, and tears falling down. However, this look, in the eyes of the man, made a fire rise in his heart. He thought about what Brother Chang said just now. Although Brother Chang must be here for the first time, they can also kiss each other later. Not bad either. Why are you crying? When we get to the nebula barrier later, I will let you all feel the ascension of your souls. One sentence made the two girls feel even more desperate. Hearing the sobbing sound, the man became even more excited and whipped the exotic BMW on the butt. Hurry up, although they were about to get a taste of beautiful women. But I also regretted being so far away from my original base. At the moment, in front, several people on mounts caught up with the wind-chasing leopard. They looked at the scar-faced Zhang Chang and shouted, "Brother Chang, what the hell? I feel like we shouldn't have to escape from the seaside barrier." The leader of the Han family is in the middle stage of silver, and his strength is almost the same as Brother Chang. Quote, "Yes, we also killed many children of the Han family, and the strength of the Han family was greatly reduced. I also feel that we don't have to be afraid of them at all. We don't have to stay away from the seaside barrier and come to this small barrier. If they dare to resist, just destroy them." When a sentence came, Zhang Chang glanced at them. Several people looked at Zhang Chang's eyes and quickly shut up. After all, it was Zhang Chang's order to leave the seaside barrier. They all have to obey. You know what the heck? Zhang Chang spat directly to the side. Can the Han family make me afraid? If I were afraid of him, I could still rob their crystal core library while he was away, and rob the old guy by the way. Two daughters. I'm not afraid of the city lord Dongfang Ruiyu. We have broken the rules. How can she, the city lord, let it go? How can we mobilize these family protection barriers in the future? Dongfang Ruiyu is a gold-level stranger. Don't talk about me. Even if we come together, we can't hold it with one hand. As he said this, Zhang Chang thought of Dongfang Ruiyu, whom he had seen once. A beautiful woman in her 20s, very powerful. But compared to her strength, what is more evil is her appearance and figure. Her appearance is even worse than the two eldest ladies of the Han family, and there is also a huge uproar. With that figure and strength, she could be called a succubus. Thinking about it, Zhang Chang felt itchy, but in this apocalyptic world where the strong were respected, they were little Kurami in front of Dongfang Ruiyu. Let's start with the two eldest ladies of the Han family. Not bad. Here, several subordinates trembled in their hearts when they heard the words. A strong man at the golden level. What a concept. As long as you don't go deep into the jungle, you can walk sideways on the periphery and within the barriers. Gods will kill gods and Buddhas if they block them. If people like them in the early silver stage meet someone, let alone fight, the other person's head may be broken, and their head will be shattered. Looking at it this way, Brother Chang is still thoughtful. It seems that not far ahead is the nebula barrier. Let's go, brothers, speed up, rush. Voices came one after another, and several people looked like bandits returning from robbery. But, the next moment, loud noises came from far away. In an instant, they reined in their mounts and stopped. Follow the sound. They were all stunned. In the distance, a giant tree of 100 meters fell suddenly. Smoke and dust rising. Before the smoke dissipated, another giant tree fell. Boom, the voice came. Then, there was a loud sound of steel colliding. The momentum is strong. Every sound came. There was a lot of smoke and dust rising up. Brother Chang. A younger brother looked at Zhang Chang, waiting for him to make a decision. Zhang Chang stared at the situation in the distance. Let's go. Go over and take a look. It should be a fight between alien animals. Let's go see if they can fight like snipe and clam. We can reap the benefits. Zhang Chang exerted force on his hand, and the muscles in his entire hand bulged out, winding like a horned dragon. The reins in his hand were also pulled up. together with the wind-chasing leopard who sat down. The wind-chasing leopard changed direction, and a group of people headed towards the battle site. Yi Yuni's sighed. GG. In the smoke and dust. A cry of powerful Vajra ant came. Yi Yuni jumped up. Below, a powerful King Kong ant breaks through the sky and arrives. The extremely fast speed stirred up wind, waves, and smoke. Like a spinning cannonball, smashed straight into a giant tree. Boom! There was a loud noise and sawdust flew. The huge tree that could only be hugged by dozens of people was struck by a powerful Vajra ant, causing a large hole several meters deep. Here, Yi Yuni looked at the last powerful King Kong ant with cold eyes. The figure flashed. The powerful King Kong ant missed in one blow. It climbed out of the tree hole and was just about to fight back. But, next moment, Yi Yuni appeared in front of the powerful King Kong ant. While it's not responding, the giant axe in his hand suddenly struck down. Boom! There was a loud noise, and the powerful Vajra ant's forehead was forcibly struck by the giant axe. It's just that it doesn't penetrate deeply. GG. The powerful King Kong ant felt the pain and became even more violent. A pair of giant jaws were raised, ready to clamp down on Yi Yuni's neck. Yi Yuni stepped down to explore. One step. The ground beneath my feet was cracked. His ankles are also deep into the ground. With one of his hands, he grasped the giant jaws of the powerful Vajra ant. Die! Yi Yuni roared, and all the strength in his body poured out. At this time, his muscles all over his body were bulging, and his originally well-fitting clothes were torn apart. A pair of arms, like the claws of a giant dragon. Click, 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 click. Wow, there were sounds like tearing tin foil. The head of the powerful King Kong ant gradually split from the giant axe. Die! Yi Yuni roared again. The power in your hands explodes again. GG. With the last roar of the powerful King Kong ant, the entire ant head was torn apart by Yi Yuni. Poof! The flesh and blood are also torn apart. Like a fountain. Splashing everywhere. Call. Yi Yuni also lost strength for a moment and sat down with a pair of giant jaws in his hands. After only taking a breath, he stood up. After all, in such a densely populated area with strange beasts, there was no room for carelessness. He took out the powerful Vajra ant crystal core that he had just torn apart. Absorb. A force suddenly poured into Yi Yuni's body. Then he threw the body of the powerful King Kong ant into the system space. Then, Yi Yuni followed the same method and absorbed 3 powerful Vajra ant crystal nuclei in succession. Call. Suddenly, a strange feeling arises. The next moment, the light curtain pops up. Name: Yi Yuni. Height: 185 centimeters. Level: Silver Midterm. Skills: Quick Absorption, God-level hunting skills. Weapon: Tomahawk that can be upgraded. Looking at the mid-silver level, Yi Yuni also raised the corner of his mouth. This finally made the cut. Pack up the corpses of 3 powerful King Kong ants. He just carried the giant axe and headed towards the last powerful diamond ant. At this time, the smoke and dust also dissipated. Yi Yuni looked at the mess on the site. Several of the 100-meter giant trees had fallen down. Not to mention the deep pits and debris on the ground. A brutal battle. Yi Yuni was also secretly stunned, thanks to this god-level hunting skill. Otherwise, he, a stranger in the early silver stage, would never be able to annihilate them all against so many powerful Vajra ants in the early silver stage. Of course, thanks to the many children, many blessings system. Yi Yuni was also thinking about Jo Ywe. He could reward her when he went back tonight. He came to the powerful King Kong ant and was just about to break open its head. Call. The sound of breaking wind is coming. Yi Yuni turned around. An arrow grazed his head. Who? Yi Yuni suddenly stared not far away. Hey, I am truly worthy of being a stranger who can fight with this powerful Vajra ant in the early silver stage. He can actually dodge my arrow. Zhong Cheng put down the bow and arrow in his hand, and then fired the wind-chasing leopard. Everyone else also got off their mounts and looked at Yi Yuni. At this time, Yi Yuni was also staring at them. Needless to say, Yi Yuni also knew what they meant. Are you trying to rob him because he's alone? Okay, hand over this powerful diamond ant, your axe, and all the crystal nuclei on your body, and I will spare your life. Zhong Cheng said with nonchalant eyes. The moment he saw that there was only one powerful King Kong ant, he knew that he was sure to defeat this person. After all, the powerful diamond ant is a strange beast in the early silver stage. This man had such a hard time dealing with a powerful King Kong ant that he destroyed the battlefield like this. In other words, he is just as strong as his younger brother at the early stage of silver. Not enough to refuse at all. Then he looked at a younger brother. The young man looked at Zhang Cheng and understood that this business was stable. Now he looked at Yi Yuni happily and said, "Throw everything over here." In a word, there is no room for criticism. Yi Yuni looked at the 5 or 6 of them, bent down to pick up the powerful Vajra ant, and was thinking in his mind. Then he threw the powerful King Kong ant in his hand towards the man. Huge powerful Vajra ants fly in the air. In an instant, it attracted everyone's attention. The younger brother didn't expect Yi Yuni to throw it directly over. Just about to pick it up. But when he found the powerful King Kong ant approaching him, below, a figure suddenly appeared. Yi Yuni grabbed a pair of giant jaws of the powerful Vajra ant with both hands and sent him forward. "Put it on my little brother's neck." One wrong hand. Poof. The body and head are separated. A big head flew out immediately. The sudden change shocked Zhang Cheng and others. "How dare you!" Following Zhang Cheng's roar, everyone else also moved towards Yi Yuni. Yi Yuni drew out the giant axe from behind. "Throw it towards someone." Call. The giant axe breaks the wind. Spin in the air. Heading towards a younger brother. The younger brother looked at the huge axe coming at such a fast speed and had no chance to react. His eyes widened. Suddenly, he saw the giant axe touching his waist. Then it flew out from the back. Cut in half. Ah! A howl of pain. It touches everyone's nerves. Even Zhang Cheng's eyes tightened. Wrong. This is definitely not silver's early strength. You are mid-silver. Zhang Cheng didn't expect that he would encounter a tough situation this time. In an instant, he lost 2 capable men. He was also furious at this time. 1 foot. The ground is cracked. Zhang Cheng also headed towards Yi Yuni. 1 punch. Blast the air. The sharp blasting sound stimulated the eardrums of those present. Boom. 2 fists facing each other. Zhang Cheng looked at Yi Yuni, who was sparring with him, in disbelief. This boy, he was able to take his punch. You don't seem to be that strong. Yi Yuni raised his eyes and stared at Zhang Cheng. Zhang Cheng grabbed Yi Yuni with his backhand, but little did he know that his effort was already seen by Yi Yuni. With the blessing of God-level hunting skills, Yi Yuni is able to judge Zhang Cheng's next move. A few dodges. Yi Yuni also understands that Zhang Cheng is not an ordinary mid-silver man. This guy is probably a gangster and lives by robbery. He also has a lot of combat experience. Boom, boom, boom. 1 punch. Another punch. The 2 of them fought in the most primitive way. Die. Zhang Cheng didn't expect Yi Yuni to be so strong, so he gathered all his strength with the next punch. The whole top exploded, revealing the muscular back. Break the air with 1 punch. Coming towards Yi Yuni. Yi Yuni also punched out. The 2 fists meet again. Boom. Like a small explosion. In an instant, wind and waves arose, causing the carriage shed to collapse. The steel cage among them was also bounced several meters and fell to the ground. The 2 people in the cage fell to the ground, their skirts flew up, and their 2 pairs of jade-like thin legs were exposed. Only then did the 2 of them see the situation on the battlefield clearly. They looked at the bodies of several younger brothers. Then he looked at Yi Yuni, his eyes were trembling. Did he kill this? A person, not to mention killing so many people, is still on par with Zhang Cheng. Zhang Cheng and his gang are in trouble. This way. After Yi Yuni and Zhang Cheng exchanged fists, they also fell backwards and took a few steps back to stabilize themselves. Zhang Cheng was not much better. He also retreated, with blood oozing from the corners of his mouth. Just when Yi Yuni was thinking about how to deal with him, an inaudible voice sounded. Crash. Yi Yuni looked around and saw a big bag falling not far from the prison cage. It contains crystal nuclei. The light that is exposed is mostly dark green late-stage bronze crystal nuclei. There is also no shortage of white crystal nuclei. Zhang Cheng saw it too. These are the crystal cores of the Han family that they robbed, as well as some of their inventory. There are hundreds of them in total. They are all late bronze or silver level alien beast crystal nuclei. Yi Yuni looked at it, and his figure flashed, heading directly towards the crystal core. Seeing this scene, Zhang Chang was also anxious. Followed by Yi Yuni. Yi Yuni took the first step and picked up the crystal core bag. Absorb. A strong energy suddenly poured into Yi Yuni's body. Here, Zhang Chang also grinned when he saw Yi Yuni's movements. What a good boy, you actually gave your back to him for the crystal core. What a fool, what's the use of taking the crystal core? Although aliens can absorb crystal core energy, they do so slowly. Court death. He immediately turned his hands into claws and headed towards Yi Yuni's heart. Take it with your life. Are you destined to leave? Next moment, one hand was holding Zhang Chang's wrist. Click. The sound of broken bones suddenly sounded. You are too weak. Yi Yuni looked at Zhang Chang and smiled. However, this smile, in Zhang Chang's eyes at this time, was like the smile of the god of death from hell. Yi Yuni looked at the light curtain that popped up. Name: Yi Yuni. Height: 185 centimeters. Level: late silver stage. Skills: quick absorption, god level hunting skills. Weapon: tomahawk that can be upgraded. Zhang Chang looked in disbelief. What's going on? Yi Yuni was clearly at odds with him just now. Why did it become like this at this moment? Before he could react, he felt like he was being thrown into the air. Boom! Yi Yuni threw him directly against the giant tree. In an instant, the sawdust shattered. Then round it, then smash it. Boom, 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 boom. After a few blows, the big tree fell. Poof! A blood arrow also spurted out from Zhang Chang's mouth. He stared at Yi Yuni resentfully and was about to say something. Yi Yuni's big hand pinched his head. Work hard. Bang! It's like crushing a watermelon, and the juice overflows. Ah! The two younger brothers in the distance were frightened to death. Kneeling on the ground, he looked at Yi Yuni. Brother. Big brother, we are willing to be your little brothers and work as cows and horses for you. Spare our lives, it was all Scarface's idea. We never thought of attacking you. Please. The words are not finished yet. Then he saw Yi Yuni picking up the axe and walking over. With two axes, their world suddenly darkened. Here, Yi Yuni wiped the blood on the axe. Then he looked at the two girls in the cage on the other side. This appearance is not inferior to that of Jo Ywe. And at this time, the pear blossoms are raining, and they are so pitiful, which makes people feel more compassionate. While thinking about it, Yi Yuni also walked towards the two of them. At this time, the two people in the cage watched Yi Yuni coming towards them. There was also fear on his face. They just saw how Yi Yuni killed Zhang Chang and the remaining two people. How cruel. Even after experiencing the apocalypse in the past few years, they have never seen such a bloody scene. They looked at Yi Yuni and thought he killed so many people because they saw him. We must kill them too. In an instant, her sister Han Bingshe was also ready to reveal her identity as the eldest lady of the Han family. However, she also remembered what Zhang Chang said before. My Han family is not a particularly powerful family. Even Zhang Chang is not afraid of the Han family. Not to mention the man in front of me who killed Zhang Chang's entire team by himself. Seeing that Yi Yuni had arrived in front of them, Han Bingshe hugged her sister, and then looked at Yi Yuni. Please, let us go. Don't kill us. We are willing to serve you. After one sentence, Yi Yuni stopped moving. So smart. He was just about to threaten him. Did not expect. Han Bingshe and Han Bingyu looked at Yi Yuni, who stopped. The next moment, I saw Yi Yuni's axe fall. Ah! The two of them screamed instantly. The whole person was immersed in extreme panic. Han Bingshe also gritted her teeth. Yes, in this apocalypse, they are not strangers. Even if they are better looking, they are just vases. Can they seduce the powerful stranger in front of them with just one face? Too naive. They closed their eyes tightly, waiting for death to come. But I haven't felt the pain coming for a long time. Han Bingshe opened her eyes and saw that the cage in front of her was split open with an axe. Yi Yuni walked in. He stuck the axe in the ground and reached out to grab them. One in each hand. Then it was carried on the shoulders. Come on, come back with me. Yi Yuni was also in a good mood as he said this. Unexpectedly, he went out to hunt beasts and not only improved his strength so much, he actually picked up two more beauties. Being carried on the shoulders, Han Bingyu also resisted instinctively and struggled for a while. Then, there was a slap on the butt. Snapped. A crisp sound. For a moment, she felt the pain and numbness on her butt, and her face turned red with embarrassment. When had she ever been spanked, let alone by a man? Before the end of the world, she was a good girl and had never had a boyfriend. After the end of the world, he was protected by his father and grew up in a greenhouse. What are you struggling for? What do you want to do? One sentence rang in Han Bingyu's ears. Listening to Yi Yuni's questioning, Han Bingyu bit her lip and said, I didn't struggle. The sound like a mosquito fell on Yi Yuni's ears, which put a conquering smile on his face. This way, he put Han Bingshe and Han Bingyu on the backs of the two wind-chasing leopards. Put the reins in their hands. You can't walk anyway, so just ride. Yi Yuni then turned around, preparing to search for Zhang Cheng's supplies. After searching, I found a few crystal nuclei again from several people. It's just that they are all from the late Bronze period. And some water and food. Yi Yuni came to the two of them with water and food, and handed the water and food to them. The two watched as they were placed on the storm-chasing leopard. Yi Yuni gave them food and water. His expression also softened a little. After all, compared to Zhang Cheng, Yi Yuni seems to be an angel-like existence. Before, Zhang Cheng wanted to tie their hands and tie them behind the car to run away. In the end, I felt that they were running too slowly and gave up. As for water and food, don't even think about it. Moreover, Yi Yuni is stronger than Zhang Cheng and the others. After cleaning up, Yi Yuni sat directly on a wind-chasing leopard. These wind-chasing leopards were also tamed by Zhang Cheng and gained a little wisdom. They also saw the scene just now. So I didn't run, and I didn't dare to run. At this time, everyone surrendered to Yi Yuni. Yi Yuni crossed his legs and headed forward. Behind him, several mounted beasts followed, slowly heading towards the nebula barrier. After a few breaths, from behind, there was the sound of flesh and blood being eaten. The sound of teeth and skeletal muscles rubbing together made Han Bingshe and Han Bingyu's bodies tremble. All the hairs on my body stand on end. It's those corpses just now. Being eaten now. They looked at Yi Yuni, who was humming a tune and sitting leisurely on the back of the wind chaser leopard in front of them, and felt a sense of dependence in their hearts. Dependence on the strong. Evening. Several people wandered into the barrier. The other strangers were sorting out today's harvest at this time. Lao Zhou, how are you? What strange beasts did you hunt today? Harm, I only hunted a mid-bronze giant horned green bull, and a few early bronze strange beasts. Old Joe listened to the words of several people here, and also said Versailles, with a look of preparation on his face. Accept everyone's compliments. You were really lucky. The person who just spoke sighed. We did encounter a strange beast, but it was in the late bronze stage. How dare we do it? Fortunately, it didn't find us. Otherwise, we would have to run for your life. Well, it's getting harder and harder now. As he spoke, the group in front hurried back to the barrier. However, each of them had injuries on their bodies. The leading man covered his arm, and his face began to look ferocious because of the pain. Between the bared teeth, a big gold tooth also leaked out. As for the people next to them, everyone has a lot of scars. At this time, she looked like a concubine, lowering her head and hurried towards the barrier. Seeing this scene, the people who spoke just now also sighed secretly. They remembered that this team had more people than this when they set out in the morning. Now that so many people are back, the meaning is self-evident. After a while, they also asked other people, and their results were average. Moreover, there were also casualties. Let's go, old Joe, let's enter the barrier. After the man said this, he looked into the distance and was stunned. His eyes were fixed on him with a look of disbelief on his face. Lao Zhou nodded and walked towards the barrier, but found that the man who just spoke did not come in with him at all. Doubtful at the moment, turn around and look. Only then did he realize that this guy was standing there as if he was petrified. No, what are you doing? Let's go. With that said, Lao Zhou also picked up the wine bag, opened it and poured it into his mouth. However, after one sentence, there was no response from the man. Later, Lao Zhou felt something was wrong, so he followed the man's gaze and looked into the distance. Puff, The wine he had just entered was spit out by him at this moment. His eyes began to tremble. What's this? At this moment, all the strangers in front of the barrier looked not far away, and the corners of their mouths all twitched. Who can tell them what this is? In their gaze, Yi Yuni and the others slowly came over, entering the barrier from the surprised gazes of a group of strangers. Facing the gazes of the strangers, Han Bingshe and Han Bingyu in the back looked embarrassed and lowered their heads silently. But the next moment, the wind-chasing leopard under their crotches suddenly accelerated, followed by Yi Yuni who suddenly accelerated. Wait until a few people disappear. The strangers were suddenly in an uproar. Mist grass. Did I read that correctly? What is this? The one they were sitting on just now was the late bronze beast, the wind-chasing leopard. Yes, that's right. It's indeed the wind-chasing leopard. Everyone suddenly took a breath of cold air, and Lao Zhou murmured, what kind of person can use the wind-chasing leopard as a mount? This is too luxurious. One sentence seemed to express everyone's thoughts. Everyone was silent at this time. But I also have the answer in my heart. This must be a powerful stranger at the silver level. And, it's not the early days of silver yet. Comparing people to each other is so annoying. When they see the wind-chasing leopard, they all walk around, but as for others, they just treat the storm-chasing leopard as a mount. This way, Yi Yuni entered the barrier and urged chasing wind leopard to run quickly. After all, the inside of the barrier is different from the outside. You still have to be careful outside, but inside, you can run away happily. He stretched out his hand and put it in the air. Feel the wind passing through your hands. Before the end of time. There was once a saying. Keep your hands outside the window while driving. 20 yards is A, 40 yards is B, and 60 yards is C. Yi Yuni also felt it a little bit at this time. Now the speed of chasing the wind leopard is almost 60 yards. Seriously, don't deceive me. It's almost like Jo Ywe's feeling. As for those further up, they should be Han Bingshe and Han Bingyu at the back. But Yi Yuni didn't speed up anymore. After all, compared to him, a stranger, the two people behind him simply couldn't stand the bumps of the wind-chasing leopard at extremely high speeds. At the same time, in Yi Yuni's hut, Jo Ywe tidied up the cabin when she saw it. This was the first time she had looked at the door. The more she looked at it, the more disappointed she felt in her eyes. Now looking at the sun that is about to set, the disappointment in her eyes has begun to turn into despair. Is she Kefu? In an instant, many thoughts emerged in her mind. While she was thinking wildly, the surrounding residents also returned from work one after another. They saw Jo Ywe waiting eagerly at the door. There was also a lot of discussion at the moment. Uncle Chen looked at it and frowned, is this Yi Yuni not back yet? He left the barrier in the morning, and it has been a day now. Quote, it seems that something unexpected has happened. This can be regarded as his own fault. He is not even a stranger, but he dares to step out of the barrier. Isn't this nonsense? Even if he doesn't look at his own weight, I think he just wants to die. He finished eating the big fish and meat last night, so today I'm going to bet on whether I can pick up some strange beasts. It's better now. Several middle-aged women were also talking, as if they were pouring out their unhappiness when they saw Yi Yuni eating big fish and meat yesterday. Jo Ywe listened to the comments of the people next to her and stared at them angrily. She wanted to refute, but she didn't know how to say it. I can only stare fiercely. If looks could kill, she would have killed these gossiping women countless times. Next moment, in the distance, there was a scream. A strange beast. It's a strange beast. The strange beast is coming. Alien beasts are coming. In an instant, when everyone heard these words, there were expressions of horror on their faces. It was as if the memories of the end of the world 5 years ago suddenly arose and attacked them. They all headed towards the house. The women who were chatting just now also headed towards their houses, but because their feet were weak, they fell down and fell into pieces. But I couldn't care less about the pain. Use your hands and feet. He hurried towards the house with a strange posture. Then he hid in the cabinet and shivered. In just a few breaths, the entire street was cleared. Jo Ywe also locked the door and hid in the corner. Here, Yi Yuni came back and looked at this scene. He also got rid of the storm-chasing leopard. When he came to his cabin, he pushed the door open and found that it was locked from the inside. It's a direct shot right now. Bang! The two-door leaves suddenly shattered and fell inside. Ah! Jo Ywe heard the sound and thought that a strange beast had entered the door. At that moment, she took out a kitchen knife and prepared to fight. But, only to find that the person standing there was not some strange beast at all, but Yi Ywe. At this time, there was a lot of blood on his body. Under the afterglow of the sun, he looked like a bloody war god. Husband. When Jo Ywe saw Yi Ywe, she immediately headed forward. Jump into Yi Ywe's arms. Here, when the two of them are tender. The wind-chasing leopard ridden by Yi Ywe poked its head in. Ah, alien beast. When Jo Ywe saw it, she immediately retreated into Yi Ywe's arms. His face turned pale, and he was obviously very frightened. Get out. Yi Ywe gave chasing the wind leopard 2 big blows and slapped it out. The wind-chasing leopard stood up and shook its head. The whole leopard huddled up and lay on the ground. It seemed like I had been greatly wronged. Don't be afraid, this is my mount. I gained a lot this time out. Let's move to the depths of the barrier. Yi Ywe patted Jo Ywe on the back and said. Really? Jo Ywe looked up at Yi Ywe. Then he was pulled out by Yi Ywe. Jo Ywe looked outside. When the beasts saw Yi Ywe coming out, they all lowered their heads with expressions of submission. Then, Jo Ywe saw the two sisters Han Bingshe and Han Bingyu on the back of the wind-chasing leopard. Han Bingshe looked at Jo Ywe and quickly got off the wind-chasing leopard. Elder sister. Han Bingyu was also ordinary, calling Jo Ywe her sister. Ah, Jo Ywe looked at the two of them and understood. After experiencing the apocalypse for several years, she also knew it. The order of this world has been reshaped. Moreover, she couldn't bear it last night, and now it hurts even when she walks. Someone just happened to be here to share the firepower. At that moment, a smile appeared on her face. Two sisters, we will be a family from now on. One after another. No sound was heard outside. People around also came out to watch. Look at this scene. They were also shocked. Is it a strange beast? Yi Ywe tamed all the strange beasts. The women who had been gossiping before also looked at this scene and trembled. When did Yi Ywe become so powerful? If he knew what they just said, would he be torn apart by the strange beast he had tamed? At that moment, they also hid behind. Yi Ywe looked at everyone and directly picked up Jo Ywe and sat on the wind-chasing leopard. Let's go deep into the barrier now and find a big house. Yi Ywe looked at Jo Ywe, and then at the two sisters Han Bingshe and Han Bingyu. There was something big going on tonight. How can this small room be enough? Is it possible that this small bed can accommodate 4 people? Yi Ywe clamped his legs together, and then led everyone outside. Everyone nearby listened to Yi Ywe's words. Deep within the barrier. Big house. Ah, this. For a moment, their envious eyes almost turned red. They looked back at their houses. It's almost driving me crazy. For a moment, feelings of envy, jealousy and hatred brewed crazily in their hearts. However, there is no way. Above the storm-chasing leopard. Jo Ywe sits on the chasing leopard. He also looked nervous and his whole body was tense. After all, this is her first time riding on a strange beast. Having experienced the early days of the apocalypse before, every ordinary person's fear of alien beasts is deeply rooted in their bones. The next moment, Yi Ywe also hugged her from behind. Let her body gradually relax. After a while, a few people arrived at the Crystal Core Product Distribution Center in Nebula Barrier. Here, you can trade with crystal cores. Of course, the people who come are also strangers. At this time, Dajinya and his team were in front of the trading desk. Looking at the price of the medicine, I also sighed. What the hell? Why is it so expensive? This medicine actually requires the crystal core of a middle-stage bronze beast. Other low-level medicines also require the crystal nuclei of many early-stage bronze beasts. He gritted his teeth and looked at his injuries. Exclamation mark. I can just bear with it. Just when he was cursing in his heart and preparing to leave. Suddenly I smell the smell of blood. So strong. At that moment, he turned around and looked over. Yi Ywe, who was covered in blood, walked in with 3 beauties. This is. Dajinya looked at Yi Ywe and recognized him instantly. Isn't this the boy who rejected them this morning and walked out of the barrier alone? They thought in the morning that this guy couldn't come back. Did not expect. I didn't expect this kid to actually come back, and he didn't seem to be injured at all. Next to Da Jinya, someone in the same team as him also recognized Yi Yuni and said slowly. Thinking of the heavy losses he had suffered, Da Jinya snorted, I'm afraid this guy is lucky, it's so dangerous outside the barrier. We all failed, but this guy came back safely. It's okay, just wait. You can't tell with this thing. It can escape the first grade of junior high school, but it can't escape the 15th grade. As soon as Yi Yuni appeared, many people around him fled away. After all, Yi Yuni was almost covered in blood, and the bloody aura on his body was really too strong. However, Jo Ywe was holding his hand. Behind them, the two sisters Han Bingshe and Han Bingyu followed closely. Come to the trading desk. A man in front saw Yi Yuni and said with a smile, young man, what do you want to buy? Give me a big house deep inside the barrier. It should be bigger, quieter, and with a good environment. Yi Yuni directly expressed his request. But as soon as he said this, the man looked at Yi Yuni, looked at the slightly torn coarse linen clothes on his body, and reminded him kindly, young man, the house you want is not cheap. Quote. Many people nearby also heard what Yi Yuni said. They are all looking at him. If we say that houses before the apocalypse are expensive, houses after the apocalypse will be even more expensive than those before the apocalypse. Every inch of land is truly valuable. Just when they shook their heads, they felt that Yi Yuni was a country bumpkin who came to the city and didn't know the depth. Wow, the sound of crystal cores falling out sounded. Everyone looked over. For a moment, his eyes widened and he couldn't believe what he saw. Big gold tooth. People nearby. Traders. Mist grass. What's this? Are these the crystal nuclei of the late Bronze period? Then him. What level is it? Ah, everyone was numb in an instant. Da Jinya looked at Yi Yuni. Is this guy a silver level alien? There are powerful people in the nebula barrier. Then, he thought about how he thought Yi Yuni was an early bronze stranger that morning and recruited him. And what I just said. Thinking of this, Da Jinya twitched the corners of his mouth and quickly hid behind him. The trader also changed his expression, and his face that had been relatively cold just now suddenly became full of smiles. Sir, we have the house you want. I'll take you there in a moment. Just wait for me, I'll bring the information and keys. Then, he hurriedly came out, took out a few cups, and placed them in front of Yi Yuni and the other three girls. This is our good tea. You guys can drink it while I wait for a moment. The trader spoke and then poured tea for Yi Yuni. Then he poured it on the three girls one after another. You three ladies, please try it too. Lady. Upon hearing this word, the three girls blushed. He quickly picked up the teacup in front of him and sipped lightly, hiding his embarrassment. Seeing the change in the man's attitude, Yi Yuni sighed with emotion. It's really a rich man, but it's hard for a man without money. While they wait, not far away, there was a noise. The noise grew louder. Everyone was talking about it. City Lord. The City Lord is here. She has been coming here lately. Yes, I seem to be looking for a medicine for heat. I heard that the price is very high. It seems that there was a reward for the core of an early-stage silver beast yesterday. Forget it, this bounty has nothing to do with me. I'd better look at the City Lord for some entertainment. Please keep your voice down, don't you dare say it so loud and blatantly, are you going to die? Voices came one after another. These words also fell into the ears of Yi Yuni and his three wives. They turned around. Don't tell me, Yi Yuni has been in the nebula barrier for 5 years, but he has never met the City Lord. Listening to what the person next to me just said, it seems that the City Lord is a woman, and she is quite beautiful. He had to take a look at this. After a while, the crowd disperses. Several figures came out slowly. A girl appears. Just one glance made Yi Yuni's eyes light up. So young and beautiful. The girl has bright eyes and good eyesight, and her lips are like peaches and plums. Her hair is as long as a waterfall and reaches her waist. Ice muscle and jade bone. Plus a white dress. It gives people a feeling that they can only be viewed from a distance but not played with. She seemed to have an aura about her, and as soon as she appeared, she suppressed everyone around her. Even those strangers who just said they should take good care of their eyes lowered their heads at this time, not daring to stare at her. Only, this aura had no effect on Yi Yuni. At this time, he was watching happily. It is also a comparison at the moment. Although this girl is not too choppy, she is well proportioned and has a natural beauty. Not bad. He seemed to notice Yi Yuni's intrusive gaze. Bai Jixi also followed and looked over. She looked at Yi Yuni with a cold look in her eyes. The next moment, she saw the clothes on Yi Yuni's body and the crystal nuclei of several late-stage bronze beasts placed in front of her. This is a huge contrast. Is this a silver-level stranger? Bai Jixi looked at Yi Yuni's unfamiliar face. She probably knew all the strangers in the silver class in the barrier. Why haven't you seen this number? Then, she looked at the three girls next to Yi Yuni. Now I understand the relationship between the four people. Although the order of the end of the world is reshaped. But she was a girl after all. Faced with such a scene, she looked at Yi Yuni and snorted softly. In this end of the world, if you don't work hard to improve your strength, you will indulge in love. But this was someone else's choice and she was too lazy to care. At that moment, she headed towards the front counter. How's it going? Is there anyone here to pick up my reward yesterday? Bai Jixi asked, with hope in her eyes. However, the trader at the counter also shook his head. City Lord, no one has brought back a new heat medicine yet. This thing depends on luck. Tell me as soon as you have news. Bai Jixi heard this, with disappointment and anxiety on her face. Then he turned around and left. Don't stop either. As soon as she left, the entire scene felt less oppressive. A breeze came in, much more comfortable. Everyone took a few breaths. Phew, this aura is really too strong. The City Lord is the City Lord. The strong men in the late silver stage are really no joke. Yes, I was stared at by the City Lord just now. I felt hairs on my back and almost paralyzed. Who isn't? Voices came one after another, and Yi Yuni also listened. Late silver stage. He is currently in the late silver stage, but with the god-level hunting skills, he will be a complete victory against someone of the same level. However, in this apocalyptic world, we still need to quickly improve our strength. At that moment, he looked at the two sisters Han Bingshe and Han Bingyu. I don't know what kind of surprise they can bring to me. Sir, let's go. After a while, the trader came over quickly, and he was ready. Yi Yuni and others also stood up. Let's go. After going out, the trader brought in a few early bronze beasts. How many of you are sitting here? The trader invited several people to come up. However, Yi Yuni shook his head. Blow a loud whistle in the distance. After a while, several wind-chasing leopards and strange beasts rushed towards this side. Trader, mist grass. This is storm-chasing leopard. Can there be such a mount? Yi Yuni led everyone on the mount, and the trader also got on the strange beast. Then go towards the distance. We're almost there, it's just ahead. The trader pointed to a villa in the distance and introduced it to Yi Yuni. Yi Yuni looked at the villa and nodded. From a distance, it looks like it occupies a large area. Moreover, there are not many buildings around. Such building density is very rare among the barriers. Arriving at the villa, Jo Ywe looked at the villa in front of her and opened her mouth slightly. Compared to the house she lived in before, this villa was simply paradise. Spacious garden. The gates and fences are beautiful. Shows luxury. In the garden, there are also many flower plants, exuding floral fragrance at this time. A gust of wind blew by, and the flowers and plants trembled, like a shy girl gently shaking. Enter the villa. The carpets inside are soft and the facilities are complete. Sir, an underground hot spring has been introduced here. Before the end of the world, this villa was a rich man's residence. It has all the facilities. You can also see the decoration and environment. And the beds and mattresses in this villa are all custom made. Speaking of this, the man also looked at Jo Ywe and the three people next to him. Okay, that's it. Okay. The trader did not expect that the transaction would be completed so quickly. There was also excitement on his face at the moment. After collecting the money, sir, if you have any questions, you can go to the trading center to find me to solve them. I won't disturb you for now. Then the man left. After leaving, Yi Yuni looked at them. You guys go take a shower first. Good. Jo Ywe was also moved when she heard that the hot spring was entering the house just now. This is so enjoyable. I am eager to try it now. Now that Yi Yuni had spoken, she naturally couldn't wait. At the moment, She looked at the two sisters Han Bingshe and Han Bingyu next to her, and pulled them. Let's take a shower first. Well, they had also gone through many changes and their bodies were dirty, and they wanted to clean them quickly. At that moment, they were heading towards the bathroom. Yi Yuni turned around here. I went to the other bathroom and took a shower to clean up all the blood stains. Then the wind-chasing leopard and other strange beasts were tied up in the yard. He walked into the yard and looked at the flowers in the yard. There are even tulips. He leaned down and smelled it. It smells so good. This is the time. Inside the villa. All three girls came out of the shower, wrapped in a bath towel. A pair of slender legs are exposed. At this time, they are standing tall and graceful. It's like hibiscus emerges from clear water. There were still some drops of water on her long hair, standing there. God feels pity for you. Yi Yuni watched. I'm afraid this tulip doesn't smell like a bath towel. Then Yi Yuni took a few steps and entered the villa. It just so happens that there are not many buildings around this villa. It seems that this time, I can't appreciate the softness of the villa's big bed and mattress. Just in the living room. Chapter 11. At the same time, Bai Jixi also returned to her room. After she comes back, also walked into the room. I saw a girl about 10 years old lying on the bed. At this time, she was wrapped in a quilt and shivering. Even when it was so hot, she seemed to have just come out of the ice cellar. Bai Jixi looked at her with distress on her face. The girl seemed to feel Bai Jixi's arrival. Open your eyes. Sister, the girl called softly. Bai Jixi suddenly changed her face. In a few quick steps, he came directly to the girl, gently lifted her up, and quickly brought her a glass of hot water to drink. How do you feel? Bai Jixi asked softly, completely different from her cold and frosty appearance outside just now. If those people in the trading floor just now saw Bai Jixi at this time, my jaw must have dropped. The girl drank the water and sighed softly. Sister, am I going to go find my parents soon? It's so cold. One sentence made Bai Jixi's heart almost break. The girl was her sister before the apocalypse came. Mom and dad were torn to pieces by strange beasts. My sister was even bitten by a cold mutated snake. Caught by cold poison. For so many years, she has relied on heating medicine to maintain her sister's life. But now, medicine is getting harder and harder to find. Moreover, my sister's cold poison is getting worse. This is definitely not the way to go. She can only offer a high reward to see if someone can pick up a new heating medicine or provide any clues. No. Bai Jixi hugged the girl, then patted her back gently. No. He murmured the last sentence, not sure whether to tell the girl or herself. Here, in Yi Yuni's new villa. A few hours later, Yi Yuni came out of the bedroom in high spirits. The next moment, two light curtains popped up in front of him. Congratulations to the host for successfully marrying a wife. Gain the energy of Juyu. Juyu's energy. What's this? Ju Nether energy allows the host to have the power of the 9 nethers, bursting out power that far exceeds his class in a short period of time. And there will be no side effects. The current host has started the first stage of 9 nether energy, and the duration and increase are limited. With the enhancement of the opening phase, the duration and increase will increase. When the light curtain popped up, it also let Yi Yuni know the power of Juyu Jinki. What a good thing. The next moment, another light curtain popped up. Congratulations to the host for successfully marrying a wife. Tomahawk upgrade. Yi Yuni took out his battle axe. Looking at the battle axe at this time, its shape changed and became more powerful. On top of the original cold air, bloodlines were added to the axe blade. It's like arteries and blood vessels occupying the axe blade. Looks more cold and stern, coquettish. Yi Yuni came to the yard. Look at the blood moon in the sky. Then the body of a powerful King Kong ant was taken out from the system space. Boom. There was a dull sound, like a pile driver driving piles. Yi Yuni struck the axe. Aha! In an instant, the axe smashed through the steel ingot-like head of the powerful Vajra ant. Nailed to the ground. That feeling. It's as smooth as cutting tofu with a knife. Next to them, the wind-chasing leopard and other strange beasts also saw this scene. The whole body trembled at the moment. A pair of eyes began to tremble. To them, this was just like a ghost story. The powerful King Kong ants in the early silver stage are just like tofu. What about them? At the moment, they looked at Yi Yuni, with fear in their eyes. If you give them a try, let alone your head, the crystal core will be directly chopped into pieces. Now, their heads are lowered even deeper. This way. Yi Yuni looked at the evolved battle axe. What a guy. If he had such a sharp weapon when he fought against the powerful King Kong ant before, would he still need all the hard work of fighting? But it's pretty good now. Yi Yuni thought and took back the split head of the powerful Vajra ant first. Then he opened the panel. Name, Yi Yuni. Height, 185 centimeters. Level, late silver stage. Skills, rapid absorption, god-level hunting skills, first stage of 9 nether power. Weapon, tomahawk level 1. Afterwards, Yi Yuni just hummed a tune and didn't bother to eat. Go straight back to the big bed. The night is still long. We still need the second half. He has to stay up late and work hard. After all, getting a wife is not my intention, but I hope the human race will prosper. All for the inheritance of the human race. The next day, Yi Yuni stood up, looking at the sunshine outside. The next moment, a light screen popped up in front of him. Congratulations to the host wife for her successful pregnancy. Get God-level body skill rewards. God-level body skills. Yi Yuni also recalled the Jo Ywe energy from before. Before he only had skills and strength. It can be said that it is just a tank. But now, with God-level body skills, then he needs strength, speed, and skills this time. For a moment, he thought of seeing the city lord Baijixi yesterday. If this is really true, it should be able to kill instantly. So, is he now considered the strongest person in Nebula Barrier? Thinking about it this way, he also felt the power slowly growing in his body. This system is really awesome. From now on, he will have more children and more blessings. Why can't he take off from the same spot? He looked at his attribute light curtain. Name, Yi Yuni. Height, 185 centimeters. Level, late silver stage. Skills, rapid absorption, god-level hunting skills, first stage of Juyu Chi, god-level movement skills. Weapon, tomahawk level 1. While he was thinking about it, a light screen popped up again. Congratulations to the host wife for her successful pregnancy. Get the god-level beast, the moon-eating Sirius. This, so awesome. Moon-eating Sirius. Just the name alone is quite domineering, isn't it? Do you want to issue it? Issued. The next moment, the light curtain flashed. A black shadow appeared in front of Yi Yuni. Yi Yuni looked forward, his eyes also shocked. I couldn't believe what I saw. What was in front of Yi Yuni was a strange beast in front of a little puppy. That dark appearance and milky sound made Yi Yuni shocked. What the hell? Moon-eating Sirius, are you worthy of your name? He knelt down, picked up the dog by the scruff of his neck, and lifted it up. Ouch ouch. Sounds came out one after another. Yi Yuni was helpless and put it down first. Then, it looked at the wind-chasing leopard next to it, licked its tongue, and headed that way. Chasing the wind leopard and others all started to retreat when they saw the moon-eating Sirius. As if scared out of his wits. Next moment, the little black dog bared his teeth and headed towards the wind-chasing leopard. Roar! In an instant, all the strange beasts including the wind-chasing leopard burst out with desperate sounds. Only, next moment, moon-eating Sirius was grabbed by the back of the neck mercilessly by Yi Yuni. It struggled, as if accusing someone of holding my throat. Yi Yuni also saw how frightened the wind-chasing leopards were. It seems that although this little thing is relatively weak now, the pressure in the blood is still enough. Okay, don't harm them, I'll keep them for transportation. Yi Yuni stroked the dog, and then took out the body of a powerful King Kong ant from the space. Eat it. He put the dog in front of the powerful King Kong ant, and it actually bit it and started eating it. The way he eats is like a storm. In a short period of time, a powerful King Kong ant was eaten. Yi Yuni. He lifted the dog up. This guy actually ate animals dozens of times his size. However, my stomach is still flat. What the hell, eating for free. However, Yi Yuni found that this guy seemed to have grown a little bit bigger. Just slightly. Monster. Yi Yuni couldn't help but complain. Then he also took out all the corpses of the alien beasts in the system space. Feed it to the dog. Click click click. The sound kept coming. Yi Yuni ignored it and went into the house to make breakfast. The meal will be ready soon. Missed grass. Eat them all. Actually ate them all. Here, the dog also fell to the ground on all fours. My belly is as round as a balloon. The body is also much bigger. This is a god-level reward, don't hold yourself up. Yi Yuni came over to look at him in 3 steps and 2 steps at a time. After watching for a while, Yi Yuni realized that this guy had fallen asleep. Also snoring a little. I feel helpless now. Then he headed towards the villa. Just in time, I met Jo Ywe, Han Bingshe and Han Bingyu coming down the stairs. However, the 3 of them all came down the stairs with support. All of them had expressions of pain on their faces. They looked at Yi Yuni's expression as he looked at them, and immediately pouted. Stared at Yi Yuni. It's all his fault. Still watching the show there. Thank you for your hard work. What if this happened every night? Then you are still alive. At the moment, they were thinking, otherwise, let their husbands marry more. With a few more sisters, they can better conserve their energy. No need to work so hard. Share the firepower. Come and eat. Yi Yuni greeted several people to come and eat. While eating, the moon-eating Sirius also woke up and came in directly. Yeah, little black dog. Jo Ywe looked at the little black dog running in. After the apocalypse, those strange beasts were extremely powerful and vicious. She hadn't seen such a cute little guy for a long time. The 2 sisters Han Bingshe and Han Bingyu looked at the little black dog with interest. He also took it out to eat and prepared for feeding. But the moon-eating Sirius glanced at it and didn't even respond. They have no interest in the food they feed. Han Bingyu. She looked at Yi Yuni. Hubby, what is the name of this little black dog? Where did it come from? This question actually made Yi Yuni think for a while. I don't have a name yet, so from now on I'll call this fool Xiao Haitzi. Anyway, it looks darker. Little Haitzi. Strange. However, the 3 of them did not refute. After eating, I started petting the dog. I have to say that this little black guy is really loved by the 3 beauties. Inside the villa, the time is quiet. The 3 girls all felt like they were back before the end of the world. At the same time, outside the barrier, the alien team has begun to gather. Today is another day to go out and hunt exotic beasts. However, in addition to hunting strange beasts, there are other tasks today. Did you know? The City Lord has increased the reward today, offering 5 early-stage silver alien beast crystal cores in exchange for a heat medicine. Or a clue to the medicine. Quote, oh my god, is it so fierce? It seems that there is no news about medicine in the past few days, so I'm worried. 5 early-stage silver crystal nuclei. Tisk, tisk, it seems that the direction of everyone's tasks is going to change today. Come, we must find the medicine for heat today. Let's go. Voices came out one after another. All the strangers were extremely excited. It seems like huge wealth is right in front of you. But, just when they are excited, far away, several figures came back quickly. All the strangers were pale and panting. Among them, there are even strangers from the early silver stage. Everyone who was just about to set off was also confused when they saw them like this. What does this mean? Didn't they just go out just now? Why are you back so soon? What's wrong? Why did you come back just after you left? What's wrong? Why are you running like this? Voices came out one after another. The other aliens looked at these people anxiously, waiting for their answers. Bayan Yuran looked at them. Ha, beast tide. Beast tide. One sentence made everyone's eyes widen and they couldn't believe what they heard. You can't talk nonsense about this thing. Beast tide. But hundreds of strange beasts swarmed in like a sea tide. Attack the barrier. At this time, the aliens within the barrier need to rise up and resist. Resist to the death. If not, there was a precedent for such barriers appearing before. The aliens within the barrier did not resist, and the alien beasts behind them rushed into the barrier and started killing. The survivors were all wiped out. The barrier was annihilated. At the same time, when the nest is overturned, there are no eggs left. Those aliens lost their barriers and had no place to rest and recuperate. He can only wander around the jungle, and in the end he will be torn apart by strange beasts. Thinking of this, all the strangers turned pale. They were about to make a move. Above the barrier, the city guard sentry looked into the distance. Look to the farthest distance. The jungle there is like waves of wheat blown by the wind. From a very far distance, it was rushing towards this side. This is beast tide. A moment. The sentry is beating the war drum on the barrier. Boom, boom, boom. The war drum is made of special exotic animal skins. When struck, the sound can be heard far away. The sound waves swayed towards the entire barrier. The sound of war drums sounded, and the survivors all raised their heads and looked over, their faces full of doubts. They don't quite know what the sound of the war drums represents. But when the sound of the drum fell on the ears of the strangers in the barrier, it was like thunder on a sunny day. Even Bai Jixi stood up in an instant. She walked out in a hurry. Look at the coming lieutenant. This voice comes from the south gate of the barrier. I'll take people there now. You go and gather other strangers. If anyone doesn't obey, kill them. An exit with the word, kill, is filled with endless coldness. Afterwards, Bai Jixi led the people to plunder towards the south gate of the barrier. After a while, Bai Jixi led people to the south gate city wall, and she had a panoramic view of the scenery in the distance. At this time, the wave was less than 5 kilometers away from the barrier. It's imminent. Foreigners in the Middle Bronze period and below are on the barrier. Control the heavy crossbow. Those in the Late Bronze stage gather in front of the barrier, at the end of the team, and hit last. Above the silver level, come to the front with me. Quote. Bai Jixi arranged it. Then he led the strangers down and formed a battle formation outside the barrier. Within the barrier, there are also strangers coming out. Join the team. Above the barrier, the heavy crossbow is drawn, and the aliens in the early and mid-bronze stage are waiting. At this time, everyone's face was solemn and unstoppable. This is a large beast tide. It's time for them to fight to the death. Otherwise, the barrier will be annihilated. None of them can escape. Boom, boom, boom. As the beast tide approaches, the earth begins to tremble. Roar, ouch. With a violent roar, the beast tide is coming. The strange beasts roared out of the jungle one by one. Aha, base. Above the barrier, the giant crossbow explodes. Huge arrows as thick as arms shot out of the air. Head towards the strange beast below. Poof. The sound penetrated flesh and blood. A moment. There are many low-level beasts falling to the ground. Although he was dead, he was still moving forward under the inertia. As for the high-level alien beasts, they may have arrows hanging on them. Or just bounce the arrow away. Still not slowing down, heading towards the barrier. Kill. A sentence came out of Bai Jixi's mouth. This woman was originally weak, but the words she spoke at this time were extremely powerful. The next moment, she stepped out holding a sword polished from the sharp claws of late-stage silver beasts. One sword pierced the neck of an early silver-armored buffalo. When you pull it out, blood arrows soar. Bai Jixi killed the alien beast with one sword, and then headed forward again. The strangers behind also followed Bai Jixi and swarmed up. The most primitive fight started with alien beasts. Boom, boom, boom. Several armored buffaloes were also coming towards the barrier crazily. The hooves of the cattle stepped on the ground, making a roar like thunder. Boom, a muffled sound. The horns hit the wall directly. In an instant, the barrier sank into a pit. Beast. The stranger in the early stage of Baiyan saw it and came with a hammer. With one hammer, he hit the armored buffalo directly on the back. The armored buffalo was in pain and turned its head. The stranger didn't take any precautions and was knocked upside down. Fall to the ground. Next moment, just saw a huge cow hoof fall from behind. Bang! The stranger's head was like a watermelon that had been stepped on. Red and white splash. When other people saw this scene, their eyes were bloodshot and their eyes turned red. You. Die. Kill. Several silver strangers came up. Stab with the sword. The armored buffalo looked like it had been teased by a matador, with sharp swords inserted all over its body. As the sharp sword was drawn out, blood arrows flew flying. Gradually, whether they were alien beasts or aliens, they all became red-eyed. At the same time, in Yi Yuni's villa, Yi Yuni also heard the drum sound just now, with confusion on his face. What does this thing mean? He doesn't quite know. Jo Ywe was even more confused. Why was the sound of drums suddenly heard? It sounded like it was coming from a distance. When she was doubtful, next to them, Han Bingshe and Han Bingyu also heard the drumming that had just stopped. stunned in place. This is a warning of the approaching beast tide. Nebula barrier has been attacked by the beast tide. Han Bingshe said, trying to recall the story her father told them before. If the alien beast tide breaks through the barrier, within that barrier, it will become a purgatory on Earth. No matter you are a survivor or a stranger, you can't escape. All must die. Beast tide. Yi Yunyi listened and looked at Han Bingshe. Are you sure? Han Bingshe nodded. Yi Yunyi went out directly, grabbed a wind-chasing leopard, and sat on it directly. You stay at home and wait for me to come back. After roaring, Yi Yunyi pulled the reins and headed directly into the distance. At the same time, here, the Deputy General is also preparing to lead the strangers summoned later to the South Gate for reinforcements. But, the next moment, a drum sound came from the North Gate. For a moment, the Deputy General was also stunned. His eyes widened in disbelief. Is there also a tide of beasts coming to the North Gate? Her scalp suddenly became numb, and the hairs on her body stood on end. North-South attack. Moreover, the main force is now at the South Gate. She can only lead people to the North Gate. If the beast tide in Baiman is really large, I'm afraid they all will have to answer for it. But, I can't control that much anymore. Let's go, you and I go to the North Gate. The Deputy General gave the order and led everyone towards the North Gate. After a while, Yi Yunyi also heard the drum sound at the North Gate. If what Han Bingshe said is true. So, now we are under attack from the north and the south. He thought for a moment, then directly pulled up the reins of the wind-chasing leopard under his crotch, and drove it towards the North Gate. North Gate. The Deputy General stood on the barrier and looked at the approaching beast tide, with a solemn expression on his face. Thousands of strange beasts. Too many. However, there is no other way now. I have no choice but to bite the bullet. Open the door. Kill. The Deputy General ordered someone to open the door, and then rushed out resolutely with a whip in hand. The other strangers gritted their teeth as they watched. Go to death. So what? After a while, the two sides are at war. Every alien is besieged by several alien beasts. This is just the vanguard of the beast tide. If others come later, the pressure on them will be even greater. The Deputy General's face was anxious. But she also knows that her task now is to delay. It takes 1 second to delay. Drag the city lord to calm down the beast tide in the South Gate, and lead the others to come. She was thinking. GG. There was a sound of steel friction, and a powerful King Kong ant came towards the Deputy General. A pair of large jaws raised and bit towards her. She dodged, drew out the whip in her hand, and whipped it towards the face of the powerful Vajra ant. Ding! The crisp sound was like being pumped on a steel ingot. The Deputy General's attack failed, and he tried to pull the whip back, but found that it was clamped by a pair of giant jaws of the powerful King Kong ant. She was stunned. Roar! Beside, the mid-silver beast, the black wind dog, is coming very quickly. After jumping up, he opened his bloody mouth and headed towards the Deputy General's door. Oops! A moment. A fear of death enveloped the Deputy General. There is no way to avoid it, there is no way to escape. Finished. Her eyes widened as she looked at the large mouth with 4 rows of serrated teeth. Next moment, call, a violent breaking wind came. Then, a black shadow fell from the sky. The battle axe in his hand suddenly struck down. Poof! Click! The sound of flesh and blood breaking sounded. Under the horrified gaze of the lieutenant, the black wind dog's head was split in the middle by a battle axe. The smooth cut surface is like marble. It's that silver-white crystal nucleus. It was also chopped into pieces with an axe. For a moment, the Deputy General felt like time had frozen. The whole world is quiet. What is the power? How is this going? With a sudden glance, she looked at the person standing in front of her. Suddenly the eyes widened. This person. Isn't this the one who brought 3 women to the trading center yesterday? He is not an early silver player, but a stronger one. While this information was flashing crazily in her mind, Yi Yunyi is already holding a giant axe and heading forward. Poof, poof. There were sounds of broken flesh and blood. Yi Yunyi moved forward to kill. God-level body movement. Every step is taken just right. Then, the body moved around, and Juyu's energy suddenly came out. As he swung the giant axe in his hand, heads of alien beasts flew into the sky one after another. A short time. The place in front of Yi Yuni has been cleared. Other strange beasts were also attracted by this extremely strong bloody aura. They looked at Yi Yuni with their eyes glowing red. At this time, they seemed to be attracted by the most primitive attraction in the body. Look at Yi Yuni. Then it rushed towards him. Boom. Yi Yuni planted his feet on the ground. The ground he was on was cracked. In an instant, Jo Ywe's energy reached its peak. His whole body seemed to be transformed into a horned dragon. A pair of arms popped up. The originally loose clothes were also stretched up, and the sound of tearing cloth strips kept coming. Go! Yi Yuni rounded the battle axe in his hand, and then swung it forward. Silver late stage. Paired with Jo Ywe's energy, the giant axe looks like a cannonball. Head towards the giant beast ahead. The cold light with blood streaks was immediately reflected in the eyes of the charging beast. Aha! Poof! The giant axe circulates in the air, like a harvesting light wheel. All the strange beasts that are touched will have their flesh and blood broken into pieces. Roar! Ouch! There were roars and wailings. All the beasts on the path of the giant axe were killed or injured. The broken limbs and arms are flying in the air. The intestines and stomach organs also turned into pieces of meat and fell to the ground. The giant beasts that originally gathered towards Yi Yuni. In an instant, it was cleared. In front of Yi Yuni, a smooth road appeared. Of course, it is a smooth road paved by strange beasts. Later, the deputy general saw this scene. All eyes widened. I couldn't believe what I saw. What power is this? What kind of magic weapon is this? Among these strange beasts just now, there are many powerful strange beasts in the early silver and mid-silver stages. But in front of the giant axe and strength, he was also overwhelmed and had no power to resist at all. At that moment, she looked at Yi Yuni as if she were looking at a god of war. At the same time, beside, other scattered aliens are also being attacked from both sides. After all, there are too few strangers in the North Gate. There are so many strange beasts. Being besieged is certain. They now know their outcome and can only resist. After all, there are family members in the barrier who are not strangers. If the barrier is breached, their families will not be able to escape. Think of this. Each of the aliens had their teeth almost broken, staring at the alien beast in front of them, as if their eyes were about to burst out with anger. Come. A middle-aged man stared at the strange beast in front of him and hit it with a heavy hammer in his hand. Boom! A muffled sound. The strange beast let out a cry and was hit on the ground by a heavy hammer, its body still twitching. He was just about to finish off. But next to it, another strange beast came up. He could only dodge, and then looked at the strange beast he just hit, shaking his head and standing up again. Grass. All previous efforts are wasted. Meat. Back to back. Several roars came. The remaining strangers also gathered together, back to back. At this point they were all panting. There are already many scars on the body. What's more, one arm was broken and the wound was bleeding. Several people looked in front of them and gritted their teeth. It seems there's no going back. Killing one is enough, killing two is enough to make a profit. If we can delay it for a second, it will be a second. If we delay it until the battle at the South Gate is over, we will win. Yes, voices came one after another. Everyone looked at him with a look of death in his eyes. They were just about to go up, facing the strange beasts that were watching eagerly around them. Next moment, poof, boom, several people followed the sound and looked. Not far away, I saw a group of strange beasts approaching in darkness. It's just that it's flying upside down. Smash it over. Missed grass. How is this going? For a moment, all the strangers were stunned. They have never seen such a strange situation. Boom. A powerful Vajra ant landed on the ground, and everyone stared at the powerful Vajra ant whose body and head had been separated, on its head. Nailed with a tomahawk. Then, he saw a young man coming from a distance at great speed. Along the way, make a knife with one hand. When the hand knife struck down, the head of an alien beast exploded open. What kind of strength is this? Here, Yi Yuni came to the powerful Vajra ant and pulled out the giant axe. Then he looked at the tide of strange beasts. Then he looked at the stranger behind him. Young man, come here quickly, let's guard together, back to back. A stranger said to Yi Yuni. Together, Yi Yuni also narrowed his eyes when he heard this. In his opinion, these strange beasts are lambs waiting to be slaughtered. Show, why keep it? Yi Yuni directly held the axe and killed into the beast tide. Everyone, missed grass. This. What is this for? Don't want to die. A person killed directly towards the depths of the beast tide. Ah, is this reasonable? At the same time, Yi Yuni directly split the head of an early silver beast. The hand is also heading towards the crystal core. Absorb. Next moment, a burst of energy poured into Yi Yuni's body. Cool, this is great food for advancement. Looking at Yi Yuni's back. The morale of the remaining strangers is also high. What the hell, kill. In an instant, they all headed towards the strange beast. The man was holding a giant hammer and was just about to hit it at a late bronze beast. Next moment, a figure rushed out from the thorn. One punch, directly blasted the alien beast in front of him. Man, what does this mean? Yi Yuni's figure continued to move, relying on his god-level body skills to repeatedly jump horizontally, harvesting the strange beasts in front of other strangers. All the crystal nuclei were absorbed by him. Although the level is not high, the victory lies in the large quantity. Moreover, no one can let such a good opportunity pass by, and similarly, one cannot let others have their heads cut off. The other strangers also stopped when they looked at Yi Yuni's movements. Everyone was going crazy. What the hell is going on? It feels like they are frantically grabbing resources from exotic beasts. But, in the current situation, would anyone really do this? I understand. I'm so touched. This is to protect us. One person protects the barrier and also protects us. Suddenly, Yi Yuni suddenly became taller in their eyes. This is simply their lifesaver. Hurry, let's take a rest. Yes, this is an opportunity that finally came out. We will protect him when he is exhausted. As soon as this sentence came out, everyone began to take a rest. After all, this was a hard-won opportunity. On the other side, Yi Yuni felt like picking up money. What the hell, it's so cool. With one punch, there is a silver-level crystal core. This is much faster than searching for strange beasts in the jungle. Gradually, Yi Yuni's Juyu energy and god-level movement skills were also brought to their fullest. The alien beasts couldn't see Yi Yuni's shadow clearly, but they felt a flash in front of their eyes, and then the world turned dark. After a while, 100 meters ahead of the group of aliens, there was no longer a standing alien beast in sight. Everyone who was resting behind saw this scene. It's also numb. What the hell, what kind of powerful fighting power is this? Isn't he tired? At this time, the deputy general also came over. Looking at the scene in front of me. The originally raging beast tide. I actually felt like I was retreating. Some strange beasts have already started heading towards the jungle. Maybe now in their eyes, Yi Yuni is the real strange beast. That alien beast that can kill them at will. Horrible, too scary. Don't run. Stop. Nima's kiss. Yi Yuni also felt this phenomenon. Do you still want to fly with the duck you got? Isn't this nonsense? Right now he is holding the axe directly. Stepping on the void, he headed straight ahead. PFFT. The sound of flesh and blood keeps coming. Another strange beast fell. At this time, the other strange beasts finally woke up and headed towards the jungle desperately. That posture was even more turbulent than when they came before. Yi Yuni gave the last blow. Then put your hand in. Absorb. After absorption, he lifted the beast's head and looked behind him. At this time, the deputy general and a group of strangers were also looking at him. Why do I feel like my feet are shaking? If my reason hadn't told me that he was a stranger, I would have really thought it was a strange beast transformed into a human being. Keep your voice down, this is our benefactor. That's true, but I can't stop feeling flustered. I think so too, Lieutenant General. Not to mention other people think so, I think so too. The key is, this strength is too terrifying. It's not an exaggeration to say that it's better to chop melons and vegetables. She looked at Yi Yuni, and then thought about the sound of war drums in front of the south gate. A few of you stay, the others, follow me to the south gate to support. Good. Here, Yi Yuni also heard what the deputy general said. Yes, there is also a south gate. He is worried that there is no crystal core to absorb. After all, After absorbing so many crystal nuclei, his state has not changed yet. It seems that the gold level is really not that easy to enter. Go to the south gate. Wait until a few people leave. The few people who stayed behind looked at the bodies of the strange beasts in front of them. Let's deal with it quickly and gather all the corpses of the strange beasts. The crystal core is also dug out. This crystal core belongs to that adult. We will give it to him after we get it out. Yes, everyone agreed. After all, these strange beasts were killed by Yi Yuni, not to mention protecting them in the barrier. Even with this strength, they don't dare to be greedy or covetous. Just do it. They were heading towards those strange beasts. Just start sorting it out. But, Wu Sao, where is my alien beast crystal core? I don't have this either. Not even this. No. Everyone, what about the crystal core? Why is it gone? Is it possible that the adult collected the crystal cores while killing just now? After much thought, one person expressed his opinion. It was immediately recognized by everyone. What else can be done? At that moment, the corners of their mouths were also twitching. Fight and collect crystal cores at the same time. Is that human being? What kind of strength is this? They continued to sort it out. Finally found some fish that slipped through the net. They collected the crystal nuclei, although they didn't know whether Yi Yuni had killed them or they had killed them. However, almost all of it was given to Yi Yuni. At the same time, South Gate Battlefield. At this time, we are also in a hard fight. At this time, Bai Jixi was fighting a two-headed snake with late silver stage exotic beasts and scales. As for everyone else, they are also fighting against strange beasts. The battlefield is full of broken limbs. Likewise, corpses litter the land. This way, we can't hold on any longer. I don't know what's going on with the North Gate. Could it be that the barrier has been conquered from the North Gate? In one sentence, military morale is gradually lost. Bai Jixi listened and stabbed out the long sword in her hand, and then slashed down. Stab. The long sword bloomed with sparks on the two-headed snake with different scales, but it didn't penetrate at all. She took a few steps back and looked at the battlefield. There was also solemnity in his eyes. But, the next moment, the city gate is open. The deputy general led everyone out. Yi Yuni also looked at the battlefield with excitement in his eyes. So much. Then comes the feeling of a wolf entering the sheepfold. Backup is coming. As this, the beast tide at the north gate has been lifted. Kill. Haha. So what about the beast tide? With the arrival of everyone from the north gate, the morale of the south gate has been greatly boosted. They all started to kill the strange beasts in front of them. An alien is preparing to hit the alien beast in front of him. Next moment, a figure fell down and directly crushed the beast's head. Then he held the giant axe and swept towards the other side. Here, Bai Jixi stepped out and fought fiercely with the two heads of the two-headed snake with strange scales in the air. She succeeded with one blow, and when she landed, she was ready to look back at the battle. Bai Jixi, what's this? At this time, she was in the air, looking far away. Looking at the overwhelming tide of alien beasts. However, now there is a strange bulge that is constantly moving through the beast tide. Wherever the bulge went, blood splattered. Extremely fast. It's like Tu Xingsun is traveling underground. Wherever he goes, alien beasts are flying into the sky, or their heads and limbs are flying everywhere. What's this? But before she could react, the two-headed snake with strange scales came to kill her again. At this time, the strangers below were all confused. Mist grass. Who is this? So fierce. Just clean it up. Voices came one after another, and the strangers at the south gate were also confused. This gentleman will first deal with the strange beasts in front of you and let you rest. At the north gate, it was all thanks to him to fight off the beast tide. You guys should take a rest quickly. With this, sir, we will definitely be able to survive. Following the words of Baiman Yiren, everyone was looking at Yi Yuni who was charging into the beast tide. His eyes were full of admiration. So that's it. At this time, Yi Yuni's prestige in the eyes of others has reached an unprecedented level. Cool. Yi Yuni felt the vigorous power in his body. There was bloodthirsty excitement in his eyes. At this time, he was covered in blood, standing like a god of war. Soon, Yi Yuni also felt that after he absorbed so many crystal nuclei, I finally feel like I'm about to enter the golden level. At that moment, he turned his attention to the two-headed snake with strange scales. At this time, Bajixi is fighting with it. However, the two-headed snake with different scales arches its left and right sides, and the pair of heads match each other, which makes even Bajixi find it difficult to cope with it. Bajixi retreated more than 10 meters and was about to use his strength to step forward again. Next moment, a figure shot away. An axe struck directly at the bifurcation of the head of the two-headed snake with strange scales. Clang! Roar! In an instant, the two-headed snake with different scales felt severe pain. There is a feeling of being about to be split open. Here, everyone was stunned when they heard the roar. They all looked this way. Afterwards, there was shock on his face. Yi Yuni, one axe. He actually split open the scales of the two-headed snake with strange scales. Deep into the flesh. In an instant, the two heads of the two-headed snake with strange scales came towards Yi Yuni at great speed. Roar! With a roar, a snake head bit towards Yi Yuni. The bloody mouth opened wide, filled with bloody air. However, Yi Yuni let go of the battle axe, dodged, and stepped on the snake's head. That power made the snake's head sink downwards. Yi Yuni takes advantage of Fuyao. Come to another snake head. Then his hands became hammers. Juyu's energy exploded to its peak in an instant. Blast towards the snake's head. Call. The sound of breaking wind sounded in an instant. Boom. A dull sound came out. Another snake head suddenly headed towards the ground. Then, dust started flying. Another snake head and body were wiped out from the ground. For a moment, both Bajixi and other strangers' eyes widened, and they couldn't believe what they saw. What the hell is this? So fierce. With one move, he broke through the scales of the two-headed snake with strange scales. The second move is to inflict heavy damage on it. Moreover, this was after the fighting at the North Gate, and just now he was fighting in and out of the beast tide. Now, can it still be so fierce? What kind of ruthless person is this? But Bajixi was also the first to react from the shock. Now he held his sword and headed towards the eyes of the two-headed snake with strange scales. Poof! The tip of the sword is driven in hard. Roar! The two-headed snake with different scales roared suddenly. His body was struggling wildly. As the long tail swung, countless strange beasts were drawn into blood mist in an instant. Back off! Bajixi immediately issued an order. The strangers also saw the power of the snake tail and quickly retreated. However, the snake's tail suddenly stopped the next moment. When the smoke dissipated, you could see the reflection of everyone's shocked and constricted pupils. Yi Yuni caught the snake by the tail. Die! At this time, Yi Yuni hugged the snake's tail and roared. A pair of arms exploded like unicorn arms. In the eyes of everyone who were shocked to the point of numbness. Next moment, the entire two-headed snake with different scales was shaken by him. Smashed directly towards the tide of alien beasts. Boom, boom, boom. Wherever the two-headed snake with strange scales goes, the beasts are all broken into pieces. Wu cow, so fierce. I don't know who looked at this scene and said this. However, this sentence also expresses everyone's feelings. This is even more alien than an alien beast. Bajixi looked at this scene, and the tide of alien beasts was already in chaos. Everyone come together. As soon as the order was given, everyone came in droves. Heading towards the dying two-headed snake with strange scales and the tide of strange beasts. Crazy fighting. The entire team of alien guards has reversed their decline. Complete counterattack. The alien beasts were also scared by being killed, and they all headed towards the jungle behind. Here, several silver-level strangers also dealt with the two-headed snake with strange scales. Plus Bajixi and Yi Yuni's attacks. Even though the two-headed snake with strange scales finally showed its light, it was suppressed by life and death. Poof, poof. The last two sounds of flesh and blood breaking were heard. Yi Yuni and Bajixi struck down with axes and swords, and the two snake heads were chopped off immediately. Yi Yuni looked at the silver-white, slightly yellow crystal core and smiled. It seems that this guy is about to advance to the gold level. But he still fell here. Absorb. Next moment, a majestic power poured into Yi Yuni's body. In an instant, it seemed that the barrier in his body had been broken, and the surging sense of power reverberated in Yi Yuni's body. Refreshing. At the moment, he looked at his attributes. Name, Yi Yuni. Height, 185 centimeters. Level, Early Golden Stage. Skills, Rapid Absorption, God Level Hunting Skills, First Stage of Juyu Chi, God Level Movement Skills. Weapon, Tomahawk Level 1. Golden Early Stage. In just a few days, he reached the Early Golden Stage. Ha, good guy. Feeling the sense of power, he looked at the dead two-headed snake with strange scales in front of him. According to his current strength, this two-headed snake with strange scales could not take more than 2 moves in front of him. Here, the other strange beasts have almost been driven away. At the scene, strangers looked at Yi Yuni and Bai Jixi who were standing there. And the corpses of strange beasts all over the ground. Cheers immediately broke out. 1. Ha ha ha, we really held back the beast tide. We really won. I thought I really had to confess here. Ha ha ha. Every stranger cried with joy. Here, Bai Jixi also looked at Yi Yuni. She really misjudged this guy yesterday. She originally thought this guy was an early silver alien. And he is also a strange person who is greedy for beauty. But I didn't expect it. This guy is so fierce. She looked at Yi Yuni's fighting style just now and compared it. Even though she consumed a lot of the two-headed snakes with different scales, Yi Yuni's method of dealing with the two-headed snakes with different scales was still more efficient. This guy's strength may have surpassed hers. But it's the same realm as her. After all, if a gold-level stranger faced off against a two-headed snake with strange scales, it would be an instant kill. However, fortunately, this crisis has finally passed. Everyone is cleaning up the battlefield. Bai Jixi spoke. Yi Yuni also watched the cleaning. After a while, the class teacher returns to the court. Enter the city. At this time, the survivors in the barrier saw this scene. It was also shocking. The aliens in their nebula barrier must be too strong. So many strange beasts. So handsome. The team went all the way deep into the barrier. Here, Jo Ywe and 3 others also came out. There was anxiety on his face. After all, Jo Ywe also heard from the Han family sisters that the sound of war drums was a signal of invasion by alien beasts. Plus Yi Yuni has been out for so long. How could they not worry? At this time, they came out and looked not far away. The next moment, his eyes lit up. Then he ran quickly towards the front. The next moment, Jo Ywe was the first to run into Yi Yuni's arms. Han Bingshe and Han Bingyu also entered Yi Yuni's arms later. Yi Yuni also hugged them, looked at their anxious look, and then touched their heads. What's wrong, are you so scared? What's more, it's a horde of beasts. How could we not be afraid? Jo Ywe said coquettishly. How's it going? Have you solved it, hubby? Han Bingshe asked, then looked at Yi Yuni and pointed behind her. Later, large troops came one after another. The 3 girls looked here. He suddenly took a breath of cold air. I feel like the hairs on my back are standing on end. So many alien corpses. Such a huge tide of alien beasts was successfully resisted. This is too awesome. Okay, stop looking. Let's go back first. I'll go back and take a shower first. My body is soaked in blood. Yi Yuni felt the bloody aura on his body and it was still sticky. It's so uncomfortable. When the 3 girls heard this, they said, okay, husband, let's go back and rub your back. Haha, okay, how about we work harder and do something else? With one sentence, the 3 girls' faces turned red and they looked shy, and they hit Yi Yuni's chest. Then, Yi Yuni led the 3 of them towards the villa. Later, when Bai Jixi saw Yi Yuni's movements, she also snorted and walked towards her room. A group of strangers also saw Yi Yuni walking away. I am also feeling emotional at the moment. A hero emerges from a young age. He has such strength now, but what happens in the future is unimaginable. Yes, I feel that this gentleman is almost as powerful as the city lord, or in other words, even better than the city lord. What is this gentleman's name? I remember that this gentleman's surname is Yi. Yesterday at the trading center, he also showed up with the 3 little girls. Hazard, let alone 3. In such an apocalyptic world, 3 such powerful aliens are a bit too few. Words come out. Several middle-aged strangers also narrowed their eyes when they listened, and then rolled their eyes. A bold idea appeared in their minds. Everyone looked at the alien beasts and crystal cores behind them. What to do with these crystal nuclei and alien beast corpses? A stranger asked. However, this problem made it difficult for everyone. After all, when they went out to hunt animals in the past, what they killed was their own, so there was no problem. But now, it's all brawling. And there are big bosses like Yi Yuni who are killing wildly among the alien beasts. No one knows who killed whom. How about collecting them first, counting the quantities, and then letting the city lord and Mr. Yi distribute them? Okay, I feel like this is best. If there were no city lord and Lord Yi, it would be a question whether we could stand and talk now. Yes, that's it. You guys take stock first, I'm going home first, I have something to do. I'll go back too. The remaining strangers looked at the middle-aged strangers who left in a hurry, and were confused. Why did you leave in such a hurry? It seems that they are getting older and love their families. In this life and death battle, they still can't let go of their family members. The person next to him added, and others agreed. Over here, in the villa, Yi Yuni also brought 3 girls home. Then they entered the bathroom together and enjoyed it. At the same time, Bai Jixi also returned to the room. Washed up a bit, then come out. Then he walked into his sister's room. Looking at her who was still sleeping, he sighed now. Then, there was a knock on the door of the room. Bai Jixi opens the door. The deputy general came in. Looking at Bai Jixi, the stranger who went to the jungle just before the beast wave came back and brought back news of heat medicine. One sentence made Bai Jixi excited. Really found it. What medicine? Where is it? She said, then looked at the deputy general who was hesitant to speak, and then took the information handed over by the deputy general. She watched. This is mutated dragon fruit. Then, she saw the following sentence, and her eyes tightened for an instant. There are actually powerful alien beasts guarding you. This description, 5 feet long, like a hill, a tiger wrapped in flames. This is red flame tiger, golden early stage strange beast. Such a strange beast is actually guarding him. So, this mutated dragon fruit must be a rare treasure from heaven and earth. Is the news accurate? Yes, more than one stranger saw it. It was thrilling to say that the tiger was resting and they were far away. Otherwise, none of them might be able to come back. Listening to the deputy general's words, Bai Jixi also nodded. However, it doesn't matter if the news is accurate, this medicine is protected by a powerful alien beast. Red flame tiger. If they were to face each other, she wouldn't be able to fight. Although there is medicine now, how can we steal it? Looks like I need help. For a moment, she thought of Yi Yuni. Isn't it a perfect helper? Without further ado. Then she tidied up and set off to find Yi Yuni. This way. Yi Yuni also came out of the bathroom humming a tune. Sure enough, it feels good to wash away the blood stains. Moreover, I got down to business and felt comfortable enough. He is sitting in the living room. Then Xiao Haitzi ran over, rubbed his arm, and then opened his mouth. His meaning couldn't be more obvious. Hungry again. Yi Yuni looked at this guy. It's also so delicious. I just ate so much this morning. However, this time there was a wave of alien beasts, but there were many corpses of alien beasts. You can go get some and bring them back. He looked at the situation here and said, I'm going out. Then he rode out on the wind-chasing leopard. Yi Yuni looked at the wind-chasing leopard and felt that this mount was a bit low. I should have known that there would be a few silver-level beasts left. Forget it, let's just make do with riding. At the same time, in the home of a middle-aged stranger, he looked at his 18-year-old daughter and said earnestly, Shaolin, Master Yi is a powerful stranger. This time the beast tide was repelled all because of him. Otherwise, the barrier would have been broken. We all have to die. Moreover, Mr. Yi looks like he is about 20 years old, young and promising. Are the golden scales just a thing in the pond? They turn into dragons when exposed to wind and rain. If you follow him, you will be safe in the future, and you will be able to enjoy spicy food even more. Dad, I don't have any thoughts. Of course, the premise is that you must be favored by Lord Yi. Quote. In another, the man also looked at his daughter and said the same thing, and then said, Go, change into nice clothes, and I will take you to meet Mr. Yi later. Be sure to bring out your best-looking clothes, and don't wear clothes that are too conservative. Another family. Let's go find Mr. Yi now. All the middle-aged strangers who had experienced the beast wave just now were talking to their daughters. His face was filled with joy, telling various stories about what had just happened. For example, how Yi Yunyi fights. How brave. Then he hurriedly pulled his daughter out. The other side. The remaining aliens were taking care of the alien beasts just now. The pile of flesh and blood of the alien beasts is as big as a hill. And there's more than one hill. As for the crystal nuclei of alien beasts, there are even more. I have never seen so many strange beasts and crystal nuclei in my life. Shocking, so shocking. This time the results were quite fruitful. I feel like I can tell which beast Master Yi killed. One sentence comes out. Everyone was silent. They looked at the strange beast here. The strange beasts they killed were all shaken, and there were many wounds on the bodies of the strange beasts. As for the strange beasts Yi Yunyi killed, they were all killed in one blow, or had blood holes on their heads. Or be split open directly by a battle axe. It's really easy to recognize. However, those who left just now are not as happy as us. When I was dealing with the strange beast just now, it was so exciting. Especially when dealing with these high-level exotic beasts, which I can't normally touch. Now he can be ravaged under his feet. Quote, others, you are trying to show off your power, aren't you? Believe it or not, these strange beasts will wake up and kill you instantly. Although they thought so in their hearts, they felt extremely happy. When they come back later, they will definitely regret it when they see this. Haha, let's show off to them later. Words came out one after another. The next moment, a stranger looked not far away and was stunned for a moment. Not far away, I saw a middle-aged stranger walking over. But he also had his daughter with him. The girl looked about 18 years old. Slim figure. At this time, she was wearing a long white dress, her long hair was flying, and her face was shy, looking like she was ready to bloom. It's dizzying. With this innocent look, she could be called the girl next door. What does this mean? Why did you bring your family members here? Bring your family to see the results. Lao Zhang, what do you mean? Why did you bring your daughter here? A stranger opened his mouth and looked at Lao Zhang who had brought his daughter. The other aliens also looked over, with the same puzzled expressions on their faces. It's okay, I'll just take it for a look. Lao Zhang responded to everyone with a smile on his face, but his words flickered, as if he was hiding something. Then, he saw the strange beast hill. He was stunned for a moment. So much. Are they all piled up in a mountain? Here, when the girl saw this scene, she was also stunned, her eyes widened. I couldn't believe what I saw. So many strange beasts. Then, maybe the tide of alien beasts outside the city is more terrifying than what his father said. At the moment, he was thinking about his father and the battle scene he described with Master Yi. What a powerful stranger that is. And now, it is an era when the strong have the right to speak. She also pursed her lips at that moment. Master Yi, can you really like her? When she was thinking about it, several more strangers came with their daughters. Several strangers and girls saw the scene in front of them. Also stunned, especially the girls, with disbelief on their faces. Others see it. I was also stunned at the moment. It's really weird today. What do these guys mean? Why did you bring your daughter here? Everyone here was confused, but a few strangers looked at each other. They all understand each other's thoughts. After all, they are just like me. Looking at each other at the moment, they all snorted. Lao Zhang, why, my best friend looks so good in her clothes. Do you want to recommend it to Mr. Yi? TCH, don't you bring your daughter here because you want to climb the heights of Mr. Yi? Lao Zhang snorted, my daughter has been trained by me since she was a child. She is familiar with the 4 books and 5 classics. Before the end of the world, she was the school beauty. Her grades are in the class, it's also among the best inside. What's the use of those? My daughter has been playing pipa and other musical instruments since she was a child. She's so talented that she can't do anything. My daughter hasn't been in love yet. Whose daughter has talked about the same thing? That's right. In an instant, all the strangers started making noise. Next to him, the stranger who had been sorting out the strange beasts before listened and understood instantly. They looked at the people with their daughters. I was cursing in my heart right now. Old fox. He actually wants to use his daughter to get married to Mr. Yi. Nima's kiss. If this can really establish a relationship with Mr. Yi, won't the family take off in the future? After all, what kind of fighting power is Master Yi? Killed 7 in and 7 out of the beast tide. Moreover, in the end, he killed the late-stage silver beast, the two-headed snake with strange scales. Not only did he protect them, he also protected the barrier. In their hearts, Yi Yunyi's prestige at this time is even higher than that of the city lord Bai Jixi. In an instant, they all started to feel envious and jealous. However, envy is of no use. They have no daughters. Even if some of them have daughters, they are not very successful. How many beautiful ones are there? Too little. While they were thinking about it, the strangers here with their daughters also competed more fiercely. My daughter has been proficient in music, chess, calligraphy and painting since she was a child. How can you compare? Let me tell you, Master Yi will be the first to fall in love with my daughter when he comes soon. Bah, my daughter is the most beautiful, okay. Now in the end of the world, what use are those specialties? Go, who said it's useless? My daughter can massage, and she's proficient in playing and singing. A stranger offered a counter-argument. However, as soon as this sentence was said, the whole place was silent. Just look at him right now. Both eyes were widened. Play and sing. What are you talking about, old guy? Pornographic. You have such a specialty, right? Are you going to teach your daughter these things? This old Jodo, what the hell, this is not the first time you dare to give it to Master Yi. Lao Zhong stared at Lao Jodo. I advise you to go home quickly, otherwise you will make Master Yi unhappy, huh? Not the first time. Old Joe was also confused when he heard this. Why isn't it the first time? His daughter has never been in love before. Not before the end of the world, not to mention after the end of the world. Then, he looked into everyone's eyes. I was also thinking about what I just said. The moment was helpless. ULSPs. What the heck, I'm talking about playing and singing. It's a specialty, musical instruments. Understand? Musical instruments. What are you thinking? My daughter has never been in love, I'm talking about musical instruments. Those are her specialties. Lao Zhong. Everyone, isn't this the same thing? Isn't it still playing and singing? Lao Jodo looked at their even weirder expressions and felt numb immediately. It's over, I can't explain it clearly. When everyone is talking, in the distance, there was the sound of breaking wind. Then everyone looked towards the distance. I saw Yi Yunyi sitting on the back of the wind-chasing leopard, coming towards this direction at great speed. Yi Yunyi was on the back of the wind-chasing leopard, holding the leopard's body between his legs and holding the reins with one hand, just like a former general, not too majestic. It's Mr. Yi. When Lao Zhong spoke, the girl next to him also looked at Yi Yunyi. For a moment, the girl's eyes widened and she couldn't believe what she saw. So young, so tall and handsome. Some people are inherently handsome. At this time, riding on the back of this huge alien beast, it looks even more majestic and handsome. For a moment, stars seemed to appear in the girl's eyes. My heart is pounding. When the girls next to him saw Yi Yunyi, they all looked the same. Unknowingly, his face turned red. The look in his eyes was also charming, and he secretly looked at Yi Yunyi. I don't know what I'm thinking about. Next to him, Lao Jodo looked at his daughter's expression and whispered, How are you, dear daughter, I didn't lie to you. Isn't Mr. Yi handsome? And don't just look at the surface, he is still a powerful person. Stranger. Anyway, you can't imagine Lord Yi's bravery. Quote, the girl next to her also nodded. She originally thought that such a strong man would be a rough guy. But I didn't expect it to be like this. She was originally a little resistant to her father's random idea of sending her out. But now that I saw Yi Yunyi, I no longer resisted. Yi Yunyi, who was sitting on the wind-chasing leopard, also saw the mountain of corpses of the strange beast. Good guy, if you pull it all back. Then Xiao Haitzi didn't just take off happily. He looked to the side. I saw a few strangers and their daughter next to them. What does this mean? Why did you bring your family here? As Yi Yunyi approaches, Lao Zhong took the lead and walked forward with his daughter. Master Yi. Lao Zhong came over with a smile on his face. This is my daughter. She just heard what I told you about your deeds, Master Yi. She has great respect for you. If she is honored, she wants to serve you. About. He didn't hesitate to say a word, he said it directly. After saying this, the girl next to Lao Zhang lowered her head shyly and pursed her lips slightly. The blush on his face became even worse. Several other strangers looked at this situation and looked at Lao Zhang with eyes spitting fire. This guy. The action is too fast. What the hell? At the moment, Yi Yuni didn't wait for anything to say. They also came up with their daughters. Master Yi, this is my little girl. She also admires you. Master Yi, my little daughter heard about your deeds and clamored to serve you. And my daughter, alas, I can't help it. I won't be able to stay in the female university. I hope you will be considerate, Mr. Yi. As soon as the words were spoken, the scene suddenly became chaotic. Other strangers not far away saw this scene. It's also emotional. These old guys are so scheming. I also envy Yi Yuni. So many girls of 18 or 19. Tisk tisk. Moreover, they are all in bud, not yet picked. Yi Yuni listened to their words and understood what they meant. Then he looked at the appearance of several girls, and he was very excited. Okay, these are the ones. Not to mention beautiful. And he's not too old. He is thinking about using the system to improve his strength quickly. This is coming. Isn't this reward for marrying someone back home soft? Yi Yuni was just about to speak. Not far away, a figure came over. Then he coughed, transferred everyone's attraction to it. City Lord Bai, you are here. City Lord, these are the strange beasts we just sorted out. This side is flesh and blood, and this side is crystal core. A stranger said, opening the big bag in his hand, which contained various bronze and silver level items. Alien beast crystal core. We discussed it. This time we can successfully resist the beast tide. You and Lord Yi have made the greatest contribution. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to stand here alive now. So first, you and Lord Yi will distribute the flesh, blood and crystal nuclei together. Quote. After saying this, everyone here nodded. Over here, Yi Yuni also came. After taking a look, these crystal nuclei will be distributed first to those alien families who died resisting the alien beasts. Then, you all distribute it first. I don't have many requirements for the crystal core. I do want some of this alien beast's flesh and blood. The more, the better. Yi Yuni said. The people around him listened and looked at Yi Yuni with changed eyes. Master Yi actually thought about the family members of those dead strangers first. At the moment, they also respect Yi Yuni even more. Next to her, Bai Jixi also nodded, let's allocate it like this. However, she was also a little confused, why did Yi Yuni need so much flesh and blood of exotic beasts? She didn't go into details. After all, she came to Yi Yuni this time for something important. You come with me first, I have something to talk to you about. Bai Jixi looked at Yi Yuni. What's the matter? Yi Yuni looked at the people around him, what the hell, he has something serious to do. Just come with me and you'll find out. Bai Jixi watched Yi Yuni's eyes wandering over the girls. This guy, although he is powerful, he cannot be so greedy for women. And these strangers, just give your daughter away. Fine, Yi Yuni was ready to leave. The next moment, the other strangers here were anxious. Once Mr. Yi leaves, what will happen next? Master Yi, do you see what I just told you? How do you feel? Yes, Master Yi, my daughter really admires you very much. If this doesn't work out as she wishes, she may not be able to sleep or eat well. Yes, beauties have loved heroes since ancient times. Voices came one after another. Bai Jixi also turned her head sharply and glared at them. Just one look and they shut up. It seems that they delayed the city lord's affairs, and the city lord was a little angry. Yi Yuni was also furious when he looked at Bai Jixi. Nima's kiss. This is my reward. You stared away, I'll fill you in. At that moment, he looked at the people next to him and said with a smile on his face, you guys go sit in my house first. We will talk in detail when I come home later. Okay, Master Yi, you are busy first. I will take my daughter to your place first. Then we'll be waiting for you to come back. Yi Yuni's words also turned things around. They all smiled happily and asked Yi Yuni to arrange their own affairs first. They were also preparing to head towards Yi Yuni's villa. This is a great thing for them. Bai Jixi narrowed her eyes when she looked at Yi Yuni. How many wives does this guy want to marry? So haughty. Rogue. In an instant, Bai Jixi placed many labels on Yi Yunyan in her heart, but of course she did not say them out in person. After all, I will discuss important matters with Yi Yuni later. After a while, she took Yi Yuni to the meeting hall. What do you want from me? Tell me. Yi Yuni looked at Bai Jixi and didn't have a good attitude. After all, this little girl almost ruined his big event just now. At this time, he was leaning on the back of the chair and crossing his legs. Seeing him like this, Bai Jixi gritted her teeth and said, "Follow me." Then she took Yi Yuni into the small door next to her. Then enter it. Once inside, Yi Yuni felt a chill. Inside, the temperature is much colder than outside. Then, he saw the little girl lying there. At this time, the little girl was breathing a lot of cold air. For a moment, Yi Yuni remembered that at the trading center, Bai Jizihua offered a large reward for fever medicine or information. It seems that it is just for this little girl. Yi Yuni took a closer look, breathing weakly. It feels like I only have a few days left to live. After looking at it, the two of them also came out. Yi Yuni looked at Bai Jixi. Why did you bring me here? This is my sister, Bai Jixi said, and then started talking about why her sister became like this. And all the hard work she has done over the years. Yi Yuni listened helplessly. Yi Yuni, this is none of my business. Are you moved by yourself? I'm here to listen to you talk about things. Do you want to talk about it? If you don't talk about it, I'm still in a hurry to go back and get a wife. At that moment, Yi Yuni wanted to fly over and give her a kick. However, he still asked patiently, "You said so much, why did you ask me to come? If there is nothing else, I will leave first." One sentence made Bai Jixi stunned. At that moment, she gave Yi Yuni the materials she had obtained before. Yi Yuni took it over here, looked at it, and then was stunned. This is the dragon fruit after mutation. There is also the early golden red flame tiger. For a moment, Yi Yuni looked at the red flame tiger and felt a little itchy. After all, he is now in the early golden stage, and with Juyu's strength and god-level movement skills, it won't be too difficult to deal with Kai Yanhu, who is also in the early golden stage. You mean to ask me and you to kill the red flame tiger and then seize this mutated dragon fruit? Yi Yuni followed Bai Jixi's meaning and said. Then looked at her. Bai Jixi killed the red flame tiger. In one word, Bai Jixi was left with a black streak. The red flame tiger is a powerful beast in the early golden stage. Not to mention the two late silver strangers, even if there were 10 or 8 more, they might not be able to compete evenly with the scarlet flame tiger. Let alone kill. What I mean is that the two of us can just go over and bring the mutated dragon fruit. The red flame tiger is not something we two late silver aliens can kill. Bai Jixi said, also explaining her purpose. Out. Are we two strangers in the late silver stage? Yi Yuni also chuckled softly when he heard this. Don't compare. However, he thought, since Bai Jixi thinks so, that would be easier to handle. Yi Yuni was currently leaning on the chair, with his legs resting on the round table in front of him. What about the conditions? If I, a late-stage alien like Silver, take on this mission, it will be like grabbing food from a tiger's mouth. This difficulty is not ordinary. My great city lord, you don't think about asking me to sacrifice my life with just one word, do you? Quote. Yi Yuni said while looking at Bai Jixi playfully. The conditions are up to you. As long as you can get the mutated dragon fruit, save my sister. Happy. I just like your temper. Yi Yuni stood up and stared at Bai Jixi. I want you to follow me and be my wife. Boom. One word. It's like thunder exploding from the sky. It exploded throughout the room. Bai Jixi looked at Yi Yuni, her eyes widened. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. What did you just say? Ask her to be his wife and give birth to his children. Ah. In an instant, Bai Jixi's little tiger teeth began to bite. Raising his hand, he slapped it on the table in front of him. Boom. A muffled sound. Next moment, the solid wood table in front of me suddenly exploded. The debris splashed throughout the room. What did you say? Bai Jixi stared at Yi Yuni with eyes wide open. You married me, did you marry me? Yi Yuni watched her movements. This crazy girl. You don't want to start the fight directly here, do you? But Yi Yuni is not afraid. He is more than enough to deal with Bai Jixi in his golden early stage. You can even execute her on the spot. But it's not necessary. After all, what if she committed suicide later? Then you won't get the super god level reward of giving birth to a child. That's what Yi Yuni has always been thinking about. He looked at Bai Jixi and sighed. It's not my intention to have a wife, but I hope the human race will prosper. I marry a wife and have children, all for the prosperity of mankind. I am willing to give all my efforts. Pass on my weak fire. Let humanity regain the initiative on Blue Star. Yi Yuni raised his head to the sky at a 45-degree angle and slowly said these words. Bai Jixi, I believed your ghost. What the hell? Marrying a wife is not your intention, but you hope that the human race will prosper. If I hadn't been well informed, I would have been deceived by your high-sounding reasons. Then why do you marry so many beautiful people? Why don't you marry someone else? However, Bai Jixi also knows that it is useless to say this now. After all, there are things to ask for. She also knew that as the sealing of Nebula Barrier's combat power, only if she and Yi Yuni cooperated, one to hold back Kai Yanhu and the other to steal the dragon fruit, could the mission be completed. As for working with other people, it's almost 100% a dead end. Facing the early golden beasts, there is no room for sloppiness. Moreover, if she dies, the sister will never have any hope of living. She suppressed her anger and said, please change the conditions. I can't agree to this condition. Can't agree. Yi Yuni's face turned cold and serious as he listened. He walked towards Bai Jixi and came to her. According to my estimation, if your sister continues like this, without new powerful hot medicine to relieve the cold poison, she will suffer, not to mention the pain, which is the life of her head in the past few days. Quote. The conditions are just like this. City Lord, you don't want your sister to suffer, right? Yi Yuni said, and then walked towards the door. He waved his hand and said, I'll go back first. You can think about it carefully. You can come to me at any time after you think about it. Gone. Seeing Yi Yuni's retreating back, Bai Jixi almost broke her silver teeth. The fists are also clenched and making a clicking sound. Chapter 21. After Yi Yuni left the door, he also hurriedly headed towards the home. After all, that was a big deal. At the same time, in the villa, a group of strangers also arrived with their daughters. Here, Jo Ywe and the others also warmly entertained several people. Several girls looked at Jo Ywe and the others. There was also a look of shock on his face. So beautiful. Although they were not too generous, they were already Mr. Yi's people after all. You guys drink tea first. Jo Ywe also made tea for everyone. Lao Zhong looked at this situation and immediately said to his daughter next to him, You kid, why are you so short-sighted? Why don't you hurry up and help your sister? Then, he quickly gave a wink. The daughter understood immediately, stood up quickly, took the teapot from Jo Ywe's hand, and then said sweetly, Sister, I'll just come. When the other strangers looked at it, they thought Lao Zongtu was fine. Preemptive strike. At this moment, other strangers also began to teach their daughters. Let them be diligent and diligent. At that moment, several girls also stood up one after another and got busy quickly. Some washed the fruits, and some even massaged Jo Ywe and the others directly. Jo Ywe, Han Bingshe, Han Bingyu. Ah, this. What exactly is going on? Why did it become like this in an instant? These people just said that their husbands asked them to come, but they didn't say what they were here for. Still so attentive now. For a moment, the three girls were confused. But there is no way. We can only wait for Yi Yuni to come back. Lao Zongtu looked at Jo Ywe with a smile on his face. In the future, I hope you will bear with me. If she does something bad, you can criticize her when you need to. Lao Zhong still understands what first come, first served means. However, these words made Jo Ywe even more confused. When the situation is embarrassing. Outside, the sound of breaking wind sounded. Yi Yuni rides the wind-chasing leopard. He pulled the reins, and the wind-chasing leopard jumped up high over the villa's fence. Then his feet wiped the ground and he stopped firmly. Master Yi is back. Lao Zhou next to him said something, and everyone stood up immediately. At the moment, they are heading outside. Jo Ywe and the other three are also average. While outside, Yi Yuni saw the busy figures of the girls inside. I also sighed at the moment. Is this the benefit of having strength? Then, everyone came out. Lao Zhong saw Yi Yuni and said, Master Yi, are you back? What does the city lord want from you? Yi Yuni also waved his hand, it's nothing. A few people understood and stopped asking, and then looked at Yi Yuni. Master Yi, my daughter just told me about her admiration and love for you, do you think? My little girl is also devoted to you. After one sentence, Jo Ywe and the other two people were also stunned. Good guy. It turned out that I was here to see my daughter off. They looked at the girls, not only did they not have any objections. And, there is also a feeling of comrades in my heart. After all, this is to share the fire. Let them no longer have to work so hard. When it comes to marrying a new wife, they all support it. Not to mention that it is the end of the world, and it is normal for strong men like their husbands to marry several. Yi Yuni looked at it and nodded, okay, in that case, let's keep them all. There will be a ceremony these days. Wedding. One sentence came out. Everyone was stunned. Good. Several strangers almost laughed out loud for a moment. Next to them, several girls also became shy. There was a blush on his face. Master Yi, I will take my daughter back to prepare. Yes, let's go back and prepare the dowry and other things. Then let's leave Master Yi first. They were also ecstatic as every sentence came out of his mouth. Then he took his daughter away first. After they left, Jo Ywe and others also started massaging Yi Yuni. When my sisters come, they can serve my husband better. Jo Ywe said, and the Han sisters next to her also nodded. Yi Yuni looked at them, it just so happened that we didn't hold a wedding before. I'll make it up to you first before talking about others. Jo Ywe and the others looked moved when they heard Yi Yuni's words. After a while, outside Yi Yuni's villa, it was someone who sent flesh, blood and crystal nuclei. The flesh and blood is like a hill. Yi Yuni took a look and found that it was too bloody if placed in the yard. No one can live here anymore. At that moment, he bought a room far away and had people pile the flesh and blood directly there. Then he looked at the crystal core that was delivered. There are quite a few, mostly silver-grade crystal nuclei. After he put it away, he carried Xiao Haitzi towards the newly bought house. After arriving, Xiao Haitzi looked at a room full of flesh and blood. The eyes are shining right now. Just don't get too excited. Go, little Haitzi. Yi Yuni threw it in directly, and then closed the door. These things are enough for it to eat for a while. At the moment, he also went back. The following few days, Yi Yuni has a big banquet every night. Marrying a wife every night. Many strangers were present. Looking at the strangers who were married to Yi Yuni, Lao Zhong, Lao Zhou and others all had smiles on their faces. Even though the person holding the ceremony with Yi Yuni on the stage was not their daughter for the time being, they knew that it was only a matter of time. As for the other aliens, there was also envy, jealousy and hatred on his face. I drank a few more glasses of wine. Alas, I envy Lao Zhong and Lao Zhou. My daughter will marry Mr. Yi directly. If I had such a beautiful daughter, I could do it, but alas. Okay, stop talking. If you talk too much, you will shed tears, but it's not a bad life like this. You can have a banquet every night. Yes, looking at it like this, the banquet will last for almost 7 or 8 days. We also relied on Mr. Yi's service. As they spoke, several people also looked at Yi Yuni, who was holding the ceremony on the stage, with respect on their faces. Then, one person looked at the audience and said, by the way, why haven't you seen the city lord come here in the past few days? In one sentence, others can react too. Yeah, I haven't seen it either. I haven't seen the city lord show up in the past few days. Could it be that he is in seclusion? I don't know. Logically speaking, she should come. Everyone was puzzled and couldn't figure it out. It's better to be confused. Have fun drinking. For 4 consecutive days, Yi Yuni not only held a wedding for Jo Ywe and the other 3, and married one more. The groom feels so good every night. Especially on the 4th night, there are plum blossoms blooming. This way, morning, Yi Yuni got up. Then, a light curtain popped up in front of him. Congratulations to the host for successfully marrying a wife. Get the gold mid-level advancement card. Yi Yunyi looked at the light curtain. I was also stunned. Good guy. Are you giving this away now? Use. Why don't you use this free gift quickly? As soon as his mind moved, a strong sense of power poured into Yi Yunyi's body. This feeling is really wonderful. At the moment, Yi Yunyi was checking his dashboard. Name, Yi Yunyi. Height, 185 centimeters. Level, mid-golden stage. Skills, rapid absorption, God-level hunting skills, first stage of Juyu Chi, God-level movement skills. Weapon, tomahawk level 1. Really, this sense of power is real. Next, just another light curtain pops up. Congratulations to the host wife for her successful pregnancy. Receive 20 God-level alien beast control pills as a reward. God-level alien beast control pills, useful for alien beasts below the star level. The host needs to let the alien beast take the pill for it to take effect. After swallowing the pill, the alien beast will obey the host's orders. Oh, this thing. It's also pretty good. A strange beast below the star level. However, there is one condition, which needs to be swallowed by the alien beast. But alien beasts are not stupid, especially high-level alien beasts. How could he swallow the pill obediently? This requires you to subdue it and then let it swallow it obediently. Although this thing is good, it is also based on strength. Yi Yunyi called up the properties panel again. Name, Yi Yunyi. Height, 185 centimeters. Level, mid-golden stage. Skills, rapid absorption, God-level hunting skills, first stage of Juyu Chi, God-level movement skills. Weapon, tomahawk level 1. Props, 20 divine beast control pills. The props column suddenly appeared. Look at these rewards. Yi Yunyi thought about how many girls were behind him, and hummed a tune unconsciously. Not only does the groom feel good every night, this reward is also impressive enough. At the same time, the residence of the city lord, Bai Jixi also looked at her increasingly weak sister on the bed. In the past few days, she has been thinking about it and waiting for any new news from the trading office. However, those strangers found no new love heat medicine. Although she also increased the reward, nothing happened. Moreover, the god-level fire dragon fruit protected by the red flame tiger is something that strangers dare not go to. Even if she adds more bounties, there will still be nothing left. That's equivalent to dying. She looked at her sister, maybe that was the only way out. At that moment, she clenched her fists and walked out the door. The other side, in another room, Xiao Haitzi also looked at the eaten flesh and blood in the room, and then looked at his deflated belly. Howl. The wolf howl came out immediately, ringing everywhere. Then it crashed directly through the wooden door of the room, heading towards Yi Yunyi's villa. On the way, wherever he passed, the survivors and strangers next to him were stunned when they saw it. This is alien beast. They are just about to take action. But the next moment, they couldn't catch the shadow of this dog at all, let alone take action. So fast. For a moment, these strangers' eyes widened, and they couldn't believe what they saw. How could there be such a fast beast? Even compared to the wind-chasing leopard, it's also a huge difference. The wind-chasing leopard is simply not enough to look at in front of it. They looked at Xiao Haitzi walking away. Then I saw it leap into Yi Yunyi's villa. Suddenly, they were all stunned. This entered Mr. Yi's villa. Is this a strange beast raised by Master Yi? At that moment, they took a breath. Fortunately, he didn't take action just now, otherwise he would have injured Mr. Yi's strange beast. However, when they thought about it, it seemed that they couldn't see enough in front of the strange beast. I felt numb immediately. Here, Yi Yunyi is watering the garden. Then, I saw a black shadow rushing towards me. He flicked his feet and grabbed directly towards the black figure. In an instant, he pinned the black figure to the ground. Then watch this, little Haitzi. Yi Yunyi also looked at it for a few seconds before recognizing it. This guy, compared to the room full of flesh and blood he sent to a few days ago, the difference is huge. At this time, he already had a violent aura. Naturally, the body size is also much larger, already as big as a wolf dog. The teeth were sharp and even glowed with cold light. At this time, the hair on the body also exploded. The hair that exploded was like a steel needle. Of course, it has no impact on Yi Yunyi. Yi Yunyi looked at this guy. Then he watched a light curtain rise above its head. Variety. Moon-eating serious. Bloodline. Pure. Grade. Late silver stage. Late silver. This guy advances very quickly. Yi Yuni looked at its deflated belly and knew that this guy had eaten all the flesh and blood and was back looking for food. This way. Sisters Jo Ywe and the Han family both walked out. I saw Yi Yuni holding Xiao Haitzi down. Honey, what a big wolf dog. Jo Ywe was also confused as to where this wolf dog came from. At that moment, she looked at it for a while and seemed to find something. Wait. These eyes, are they little black ones? When Xiao Haitzi heard Jo Ywe calling, he also howled twice. Han Bingshe and Han Bingyu also hurried over. He looked at it with shock on his face. Why has this guy grown so big in the past few days? How did it grow? Yi Yuni looked at their surprised expressions and let go of Xiao Haitzi, who also came to the three of them. The three of them were feeling emotional while playing with the dog. Because this guy is a strange beast, Yi Yuni said, thinking that this guy is not only a strange beast, but also a very fierce one. Alien beast. The three women were also stunned when they heard this. Alien beast. From behind, there was also a voice of doubt. A girl also walked out of it while holding on to the wall. She looked at Xiao Haitzi with a frightened expression. Xiao Haitzi also looked at the girl, and then he smelled Yi Yuni's scent from her. Let your guard down now. Sister, it's okay. This is my husband's pet. I don't know where it went a few days ago. It's very well behaved. Come and touch it. Come, let's pet the dog together. Then Jo Ywe pulled her over. The girl is also touching. Yi Yuni looked at it and felt that someone was coming from outside the villa. He looked over. Then he saw Bai Jixi coming outside the villa. She looked inside. At this time, the banquet decorations had not been removed in the villa. After all, there are several girls behind. At that moment, Bai Jixi gritted her teeth. Standing there, silent, city lord, the girl who had just squatted down to pet the dog looked at Bai Jixi and barked. Jo Ywe and others also noticed. But I don't know what it means when the city lord comes to visit. Here, Bai Jixi looked at Yi Yuni and clenched her fists. I agree. When can you go to the depths of the jungle with me? As soon as he said this, Yi Yuni also had a smile on his face. If he agreed, wouldn't it be easy? Anytime. After Yi Yuni finished speaking, Jo Ywe and others listened with worried expressions on their faces. Husband, do you want to go deep into the jungle? There should be more powerful beasts there, right? It's okay, don't worry. Yi Yuni looked at them. I'm also very strong. I can deal with those strange beasts easily. One sentence made Bai Jixi curl her lips immediately. Is it solved casually? This time, what we have to face is the Scarlet Flame Tiger in the early golden stage. This is not how you brag in front of girls. A braggadocio is a skill to have. Bai Jixi snorted softly. Yi Yuni turned to look at her. What did you say? Nothing. Let's go. Bai Jixi waved her hand and asked Yi Yuni to set off. After all, her sister couldn't hold on for that long. Here, Yi Yuni also took out the battle axe from the house, and then carried it on his back. 4 girls also came. Husband, you must be careful. Be sure to come back soon. After saying every word of concern, Yi Yuni looked at them and nodded. Don't worry, I'll be back as soon as I'm done. Then, he followed Bai Jixi out on the wind-chasing leopard. On the mount, Bai Jixi looked at him, looking this guy up and down. The looks of those girls just now also caught her eye. She was a little confused. They all serve Yi Yuni, but they don't seem to be jealous, and they really have a special relationship with Yi Yuni, just like little wives. This guy, what's the charm? Yi Yuni looked at Bai Jixi's eyes, if he knew what Bai Jixi was thinking at this time. Be sure to reply. What's the charm? This thing can only be understood but cannot be expressed in words. Moreover, understanding still has to be at night. Stop looking. After the mission is over, I'll let you join the queue. Jumping in line. What team to join? Then, Bai Jixi reacted. This guy. However, now that the contract has been reached, as long as the task is completed, she will be Yi Yuni's. Me. I know. You don't need to tell me. If you complete the task, I will definitely keep my promise. It's just that if you mess up, I can't forgive you. Bai Jixi said fiercely, thinking in her heart whether there would be such a possibility. After completing the mission, this guy was targeted by Qianyu. Then he did not escape and died directly in the tiger's mouth. This way she could save her sister without becoming his. But Bai Jixi also knew that it was not realistic. The two of them then left the city. Many strangers watched this scene. They were also stunned at the moment. The city lord and Mr. Yi left the city together. What are you going to do? However, they didn't dare to go up and ask. After all, they didn't need to tell them what they wanted to do. The two of them placed their mounts directly at the city gate. Went out of town on foot. After leaving the city, Bai Jixi followed the information given by those strangers. Take Yi Yuni and head straight into the depths. Along the way, Yi Yuni saw several low-level spiritual beasts. A dodge. God-level movement techniques appeared immediately. Several strange beasts only saw a shadow flash past. Then there was a popping sound. Then, I felt a light touch on my neck. Quietly away from this beautiful world, Yi Yuni collected the crystal nuclei of several strange beasts, and then looked at their corpses. It's a pity. If there was no one around, he could just put these corpses into the system space for Xiao Haixi to eat. But now, well, he looked at Bai Jixi and thought, Xiao Haixi must hate you to death. Bai Jixi looked at him all the way and was speechless. Can you please calm down for a while? Do you want such a strange beast? What do you know? Fly legs are also meat. You have never been poor, so you don't understand. Yi Yuni said, giving Bai Jixi a blank look, too lazy to talk to her. Bai Jixi looked at Yi Yuni's eyes looking at Shabi, and immediately she groaned angrily. But it was no use either. I can only endure it. Deep in the jungle. The two of them also walked carefully. Here, we can gradually see the strange beasts above the mid-silver stage more frequently. It should be around here. Bai Jixi looked at the information and determined the location. Subsequently, a roar of a tiger, ringing through the mountains and forests. The strange beasts from all directions immediately fled into the distance. Far away in an instant. Over there, Yi Yuni heard the voice and identified the location, looked into the distance, and then stepped on the wind under his feet, heading that way quickly. So fast. Bai Jixi looked at his footsteps and was shocked in her heart. Why does this guy feel so much faster? But hurry up and keep up. After a while, Yi Yuni and Bai Jixi were standing on the trunk of a giant tree. It's like standing on a large flat land. Bai Jixi watched from the front. Not far away, it was the red flame tiger. The body is 5 feet long and the tail is as thick as a stick. During the sweep, there was a sound of breaking wind. What a striking tiger. At this time, it is eating a powerful King Kong ant. The moment those fangs came into contact with the powerful King Kong ant, it was like cutting tofu with a knife. Dive right into it. Then it was easy to chew. Then he stretched out his barbed tongue and licked off a layer of flesh and blood. Seeing this, Bai Jixi's eyes narrowed. Afterwards, the two of them looked into the distance. That is, mutated dragon fruit. It's almost the same shape as the dragon fruit before the apocalypse. But huge. It's the size of a human head. There are still flames surrounding it. And there is also a fire dragon shadow surrounding the dragon fruit. It looks so weird. This is truly a rare treasure from heaven and earth. Bai Jixi looked at it with burning eyes. This thing will definitely cure her sister's disease. But what to do with this red flame tiger? The next moment, a whisper came from her ear. In a moment, you go and lure the red flame tiger away from the mountain, and I'll get the dragon fruit. Yi Yuni said, and the breeze blew by Bai Jixi's ears. It tickled her, and a strange feeling suddenly came to her heart. However, she also woke up in an instant. Why don't you lead me? Bai Jixi asked immediately, her beautiful eyes widening. Think she is stupid. Lure away the red flame tiger. The risk factor is not generally high. Why doesn't this guy go? Good guy, this guy just wants to pick up what's already available, right? Here, Yi Yuni saw that she was not wearing the condom, and then pointed towards the distance. Look, Bai Jixi's heart suddenly trembled. What's wrong? She immediately looked in the direction of Kai Yanhu. Could it be that something happened? Next moment, she just felt like her butt was kicked hard. The whole person headed towards the giant tree. Bai Jixi. In the air, Bai Jixi's heart felt like 10,000 grass and mud horses galloping past. She wanted to break her head, but she didn't expect that Yi Yuni would kick her down directly. This idiot. But there is no room for recovery now. She immediately drew her sword. Clang! A crisp sword cry suddenly sounded. Subsequently, Bai Jixi also fell from the sky, stepping on the fallen leaves. Ouch! In the distance, the Kai Yanhu who was eating also immediately noticed the human who interrupted his meal. Fury, come to its heart, it roared. The 5-foot-long tiger body jumped out and headed towards Baizi River. At the same time, Yi Yuni on the tree also moved. He dodged and headed directly towards the mutated dragon fruit. After all, this is the mission. His agreement with Bai Jixi was to obtain the mutated dragon fruit. He could directly fight Kai Yanhu, but if he destroyed the dragon fruit, the mission would still fail. Let Bai Jixi attract him first. After he takes the dragon fruit, the best choice is to deal with Qianyu. Of course, he had to be quick. After all, Bai Jixi's strength is only enough to withstand 3 attacks from the red flame tiger. A dodge. Yi Yuni came to the mutated dragon fruit. Look at the mutated dragon fruit the size of a human head in front of you. Yi Yuni picked it off directly. Ouch! The fire dragon shadow coiled around the dragon fruit also let out a roar, and then got into the dragon fruit. Here, the red flame tiger is also heading towards Baiji River. A tiger claw, grabbing directly towards Bai Jixi. Aha! Break the wind, sounded suddenly. Bai Jixi looked at this claw and gasped unconsciously. She couldn't believe what she saw. Her body was tense unconsciously, and all the strength in her body was operating to the extreme. She didn't expect that facing a gold-level beast head-on would be such a terrifying experience. Clang! In one touch, the sword in Bai Jixi's hand bent directly. Click! A crisp voice sounded. Where the sword and the tiger's claws came into contact, cracks appeared. Bai Jixi looked at it, her beautiful eyes widened. The next moment, above the arm, it was a terrifying force coming. Call! She felt as if she had been hit by a high-speed train. Flying backwards towards the back. Boom! Then, it hit the tree trunk behind hard. This time, she felt like her internal organs were about to be knocked apart. Then, she just watched the red flame tiger move towards her quickly. Oops! In an instant, Bai Jixi was extremely nervous. She knows, I can almost hit the red flame tiger 3 times. But, now this is the furious red flame tiger. I'm afraid I really can't handle that many. But the next moment, far away, a burst of dragon roar came. After Kai Yanhu heard this, his whole body froze. Then his eye-catching eyes shrank. Looking back suddenly, just saw in the distance, Yi Yuni had already picked off the mutated dragon fruit. It understood in an instant. This is to sway the tiger away from the mountain. At that moment, he let out a roar. Head directly towards Yi Yuni. That speed, just bring the wind. At this time, Bai Jixi also saw Yi Yuni succeed. I was overjoyed at the moment. However, what followed was intense worry. Let's go, let's go. Bai Jixi saw the red flame tiger heading towards Yi Yuni, with worry in her eyes. At that moment, she was also going to kill the red flame tiger. According to the power of the red flame tiger in the rage that she just felt, there is a high probability that neither of them can escape. Now that the mutated dragon fruit has been picked, then she can only stay here and stall with Kai Yanhu. Escort Yi Yuni to leave. Let Yi Yuni bring the mutated dragon fruit back. In this case, her sister can also be saved. This is the only way. Only, now she is running at an extremely fast speed. He also couldn't catch up with the furious red flame tiger. One breath, Kai Yanhu has arrived in front of Yi Yuni. Then, he raised his claws and pounced towards Yi Yuni. In an instant, a sonic boom sounded. The power of that claw directly cuts through the air. Make a harsh sonic boom sound. The momentum is strong. The power reaches a great deal. Slap Yi Yuni hard on the head. Next moment, boom, a bang, flying sand and flying rocks. The dust within a 50-meter radius of the Kai Yanyu's location suddenly stirred up. That scene was like a bomb exploding. Oops! Bai Jixi looked at this scene, with despair rising in her heart. This red flame tiger is in a state of extreme anger. This blow, Yi Yuni, who is in the late silver stage, may have been photographed like meat. That dragon fruit, I'm afraid it is. Yi Yuni. Bai Jixi froze on the spot. After the smoke and dust flew away, Bai Jixi looked in front of her. In an instant, her eyes widened and the hairs on her body stood up. What's this? What did she see? At this time, under the tiger's claws, Yi Yunyi raised his hands. He abruptly received a blow from the furious red flame tiger. Even Kai Yanhu was stunned. He didn't expect that this little human could actually catch its furious blow. At this time, Yi Yunyi looked at the cracked earth under his feet and his calf that had sunk into the soil. Then with a ferocious smile on his face, he looked up at Kai Yanhu. Human eyes and tiger eyes look at each other. Yi Yunyi slowly opened his mouth. You're really strong. Now that you've finished fighting, it's my turn. The words fell. The power in Yi Yunyi's body was immediately mobilized. Juyu's energy also exploded violently. Yi Yunyi directly grabbed the claws of the red flame tiger, raised it up, and threw it far away. Kai Yanhu only felt his body light up, and then flew out upside down. Boom, boom, boom. In the forest, the sound of explosion suddenly sounded. Bai Jixi looked at the scene in front of her. My mouth opened wide unconsciously. That size is enough to stuff an egg in. In her eyes, the red flame tiger was thrown out by Yi Yunyi like a hammer. Flying all the way. Along the way, they smashed giant trees surrounded by people one after another. And, after smashing several trees, the speed has not decreased much. What power? While she looked at Yi Yunyi in shock, Yi Yunyi also moved. At this time, Yi Yunyi looked at the red flame tiger flying upside down in the distance and stepped on it. The legs were pulled straight out of the ground. God-level movement reaches its peak. Next moment, he appeared above the flying red flame tiger. Under Kai Yanhu's horrified gaze, Yi Yunyi punched directly. Yay! A violent sonic boom immediately spread. The surrounding space seemed to be distorted in an instant. Boom! The red flame tiger, which was flying backwards parallel to the ground, was punched. It changed direction directly and headed towards the ground. Like a nail, it went straight in. Boom! A bang! Qianyu's head hit the ground. Smashed it in. The entire ground was smashed into a big hole. Bai Jixi. Violent. Too violent. She looked at Yi Yunyi. At this time, it seemed like looking at a humanoid tyrannosaurus. It's so scary. Ah, here, Yi Yunyi also jumped into the pit, grabbed the Kai Yanhu's ears, and pulled it out of the pit. At this time, Kai Yanhu already felt that his head was filled with fish and meat. One strike, it just knows that the gap between itself and this human being is like a chasm. Insurmountable. At the moment, he was also being dragged along, not daring to move at all. Although my ears were being pulled, it was really painful. Here, Yi Yunyi looked at the honest Kai Yanhu and took out his battle axe. Looking at the battle axe, Kai Yanhu also trembled. Is it going to die? But then, Yi Yunyi gave up the idea. After all, the early golden crystal core is not of much use to him now. This big pet is better. After all, he now also has god-level alien beast control pills. Here, he turned his palm and took out the pills. Then he opened the huge mouth of the red flame tiger. Throw the pill in. During this process, although Kai Yanhu didn't know what Yi Yunyi was feeding him, he didn't dare to resist at all. Joke. Resist. I can't live anymore. Then, Kai Yanhu looked at Yi Yunyi with eyes that ranged from fear to piety. Then stood up. However, the Kai Yanhu was still a little shaky at this time. Here, Bai Jixi also rushed over. He came over and looked at Yi Yunyi. Aren't you in the late silver stage? When she said this, her whole body felt trembling. Such power, such strength. At the very least, it is also the golden mid-term. Fear. This guy has actually reached the middle stage of his prime. It's so scary. When did I say that I was in the late silver stage? Yi Yunyi asked, then turned around and took out the mutated dragon fruit from the system space. Throw it towards Bazi River. Here you go, mission accomplished. Bai Jixi took the dragon fruit and looked at the dragon fruit. This was her sister's life-saving medicine. Thank you. Bai Jixi looked at Yi Yunyi and thanked her sincerely. Yi Yunyi then stepped down and sat on the back of the red flame tiger. I have to say that sitting here, the red flame tiger is much more comfortable and domineering than the wind-chasing leopard. But yes, one is in the early gold stage and the other is in the late bronze stage. The difference is huge. Aren't you going to kill it? Bai Jixi looked up at Yi Yuni from below and asked. Kill. Yi Yuni touched the red flame tiger. You see how kind it looks in its eyes, are you willing to kill it? Then, Kai Yanhu turned back and stared at Bai Jixi. There is anger and murderous intent in his eyes. As if dissatisfied, Bai Jixi encouraged Yi Yuni to kill it. Bai Jixi. Kind. You call this kindness? Ah. This is nothing kind. However, no matter what, it is Yi Yuni's choice. After all, in this world, strength is king. Come on, let's go back. Yi Yuni said and waved to Bai Jixi. Bai Jixi nodded, also holding the mutated dragon fruit, and stepped on the back of the red flame tiger. Then he sat down in front of Yi Yuni. The next moment, she felt a hand around her waist. It made her whole body tremble. She had never been in love or been touched by a boy. At this moment, her whole body felt numb. Subconsciously I said, what are you doing? What? No, my mission has been completed now. Yi Yuni paused and used more force in his hands, as if he was feeling Bai Jixi's slender waist. Do you want to regret it? In a word, Bai Jixi also knew that she was very clear about her agreement with Yi Yuni. She blushed immediately, and after a while, she muttered, But you, please don't touch me. Do not worry, Yi Yuni said, clamping his legs together and directing Kai Yanhu towards the nebula barrier. However, after a while, Bai Jixi's low cry came from the jungle, I'm telling you, stop moving. Then, a crisp sound was heard. After a while, before the nebula barrier, Yi Yuni was already holding Bai Jixi. At this time, Bai Jixi's face was full of delicate red. She feels the pain in her ass. This guy, I just yelled at him, just that. This guy hit her so hard. Do you understand what it means to pity the fragrance and cherish the jade? Do you understand? She wanted to do it. However, although she is now the city lord of Nebula Barrier in the late silver stage. But in Yi Yuni's eyes, he was just like a little chicken. Take it as you like. At this time, the gate of Nebula Barrier City. Many strangers are gathering. All of them have serious expressions and look into the distance. Then it's really the red flame tiger. I didn't expect that such a strange beast would come. I just escaped the beast tide, and now there is another strange beast like this. Are we, the Nebula Barrier, going to be broken today? After a sentence, a stranger suddenly turned his head to look at them. Don't say such depressing words. We will definitely be able to withstand the beast tide. But the beast tide relies on the city lord and Lord Yi, and they are not in the barrier now. This is a strange beast in the early golden stage. In front of it, we are nothing like a mob. What should I do? After saying a few words, the encouraging tone of the man just now was wiped out in an instant. Yes, Bai Jixi and Yi Yuni are not here now. Their strength is simply not enough in front of this early stage golden beast. But, so what now? The only option is to kill. It's a blessing, not a curse, it's a curse that cannot be avoided. Yes, logically speaking, I couldn't survive the beast wave anyway, but now I can survive for a few more days. It's not a loss. The words were spoken again, and all the strangers looked at death with expressions. Next moment, it's not right. Why is there someone behind this red flame tiger? Everyone who was just about to take action was stunned when they looked at the approaching Qianyu. What's going on? It's Mr. Yi and the city lord. I don't know who shouted. Others also looked at it, and their hearts suddenly became excited. It's really Mr. Yi and the city lord. But what's going on? Is this their mount? And, what are the actions of these two people? Why is Mr. Yi's hand wrapped around the city lord's waist? Everyone looked at it, and they were also confused. Here, in full view of everyone, Yi Yuni staggered over with Bai Jixi in his arms, sitting on the red flame tiger. Bai Jixi's face turned red when she looked at everyone's gaze. She stared at them. That look seemed to be saying something. What are you looking at? Have you never seen a beautiful woman? The strangers were stunned when they looked at Bai Jixi's murderous eyes. Then he lowered his head. No more, no more. Yi Yuni also watched, and then Dalala carried Bai Jixi into the city gate. Then I thought about it. Next moment, he hugged Bai Jixi and went down the red flame tiger. Then he looked at Kai Yanhu and said, just guard at the gate of this city. After saying a word, Kai Yanhu walked towards the city gate honestly, and then lay down. He's so good that he doesn't need it. Here, a group of strangers watched this scene. I feel like all the hairs on my body stand up. What did they see? This powerful early golden beast, the red flame tiger, actually listened to Master Yi like this. Why, moreover, this time, these early golden beasts are guarding here. What will they do when they enter and exit the barrier? How dare you enter? Who among these strangers would not be frightened when encountering a strange beast of this level? At that moment, he saw Yi Yuni and Bai Jixi preparing to ride into the city on the strange beasts they had placed here before. A strange person asked, Master Yi, this red flame tiger. Yi Yuni looked at his expression. It's okay, don't worry, I'll tell it to guard here to prevent another beast wave. After thinking about it, Yi Yuni also added, don't worry, this is my new mount, it's very obedient. Hey, Yi Yuni called out. Kai Yanhu, who had just been lying down, immediately stood up. Looking at Yi Yuni waiting for his instructions. Do a backflip, Yi Yuni said, making gestures with his hands in the air. Call. Next moment, the news suddenly came out. Everyone looked at Qianyu. I saw it doing a backflip on the spot. The height in the air is extremely high. His huge body did a backflip in the air, showing off his muscular lines. Then, it fell heavily to the ground. Bai Jixi. Everyone. Mist grass. This. What the hell is this? Aren't you a strange beast in the early golden stage? Where is your dignity? In an instant, they had a better understanding of Yi Yuni's strength. This is too fierce. Do you think this is an excuse to ask a girl home before the end of the world? Does my cat do backflips? Under the shocked gazes of everyone, Kai Yanhu lay down again. Let's go. Here, Yi Yuni had already sat on the chasing wind leopard. Looking at Bai Jixi who was stunned over there, he greeted her. Bai Jixi also got on her mount. Then the two of them headed towards the barrier together. Behind, only a group of stunned strangers were left. After watching the two figures gradually disappear, a stranger spoke quietly. Master Yi, what kind of strength is this? In one sentence, he asked everyone's thoughts. Master Yi, what kind of strength is he? What the hell? Golden early stage, golden midterm, the golden period. If you want to know the specifics, you may have to ask Kai Yanhu, who is so obedient. It might be clearer, but everyone looked at the Kai Yanhu who was keeping away from others, and their hearts grew hairy at the moment. Who dares to do this? Forget it. The other side. Yi Yuni was walking side by side with Bai Jixi. Bai Jixi looked at the mutated dragon fruit in the animal skin bag in her hand, and also looked at Yi Yuni. I want to go back and treat my sister first. No problem, I told you before, let you jump in line, you go first, come tonight to hold the ceremony and get married. Listening to Yi Yuni's words about jumping in line, Bai Jixi really wanted to add something, but there was no need to. However, thinking about the slap Yi Yuni gave her on the butt before, which still ached slightly, she gave up immediately. Don't worry, I promised you and I won't go back on it. As Bai Jixi spoke, she drove her mount into the distance. Yi Yuni looked at Bai Jixi's retreating figure. A tut-tisk sound came out of his mouth. This chick. So cool, have character, he likes. Go home. After a while, Bai Jixi quickly returned to the room. Then he looked at his sister on the bed. By this time, my sister's condition had become more serious. My eyebrows are already frozen. Little sister, little sister. Bai Jixi gently woke up her sister. The younger sister opened her eyes with difficulty and looked at Bai Jixi, sister. Bai Jixi then took out the dragon fruit. Little sister, try this. The younger sister was also stunned when she saw such a big dragon fruit. There was shock in his eyes. She has not seen dragon fruit since the end of the world. Unexpectedly, when I saw dragon fruit for the first time after the apocalypse, I saw such a big one. Bai Jixi also looked at her little sister. He cursed himself secretly. How does this little girl eat? The next step was to go out and cut the dragon fruit open with a knife. After cutting it open, the inside of the mutated dragon fruit was actually warm. And it doesn't get colder over time at all. This may really cure my little sister. Bai Jixi looked at this scene with expectations on her face. Then she took it in. Pick it up with a toothpick and feed it to the little sister. When the dragon fruit enters her mouth, the little girl feels warmth rising inside her body. Sister, it's so warm, the younger sister said softly. Bai Jixi was immediately ecstatic. Real, she then fed more. Gradually, Bai Jixi just looked at her little sister, visible to the naked eye. The frost on my little girl's face is melting. Then came the steam. His face also turned rosy. Little sister, how do you feel? Sister, I feel like I'm not cold anymore. I don't feel cold at all. The younger sister struggled to get up, but still lay down because of her physical weakness. You little guy, just in time, how can you move around? You need to rest for a while. I will find someone to take care of you. You have to eat this dragon fruit every day. Once you are cured, I will take you to have fun in the future. Although it is the end of the world, but you can also have fun in the midst of suffering. Bai Jixi said, and her sister also had hope in her eyes. Bai Jixi watched, her sister's eyes became desperate day by day, and now she almost cried on the spot. But she also refrained from crying. After a while, my sister fell asleep. Bai Jixi also went out. Then, the deputy general was called. City Lord, what's wrong? The deputy general saw Bai Jixi being so anxious and asked her to come, but he didn't know why. Here, Bai Jixi looked at her, go and summon makeup artists and costume designers in the city at a high price, and collect some jewelry. Bai Jixi said. The deputy general was also stunned. What are you going to do? City Lord, what are you doing? The doubts on the deputy general's face were about to burst out. What happened to the city lord? These people are suddenly being asked to pay high prices. The next moment, Bai Jixi looked at her, I'm getting married. I want to get married in style. Having said that, Bai Jixi also raised her head slightly. This sentence made the deputy general stunned for a moment, and then his eyes widened. He couldn't believe what he heard. What did the city lord just say? She is getting married. Who to marry? Why wasn't there any warning? In an instant, 10,000 thoughts flew through the lieutenant's mind. Finally, she waited for a while before slowly speaking, City Lord, who do you want to marry? Yi Yuni, Bai Jixi said, with a slight blush on her face. After all, he was asked so nakedly. Also a little embarrassed. Yi Yuni, the deputy general immediately patted his head. Indeed, in the entire Nebula Barrier, if there is anyone who can make the city lord fall in love, it might be Lord Yi. Okay, you go quickly, otherwise you won't make it in time. Bai Jixi waved her hand and told her to hurry up and get ready. After all, asking questions here and showing such an expression made her a little embarrassed. Okay, after the deputy general agreed, he hurried out. After going out, she also had an ant smile on her face. She originally thought that the city lord would never get married in this life. Live life alone. But, I didn't expect that. It really gave her a critical hit. I went solo straight from the womb and am now getting married. Too suddenly. At the same time, the entrance of the villa. Jo Ywe and others looked at the time with worries on their faces. After all, Yi Yuni was going to the depths of the forest this time. There are powerful beasts inside. Although my husband is very strong. However, they can't help but worry. Just as they were thinking. Next moment, Xiao Haitzi seemed to sense something and rushed out of the villa. That speed set off a whirlwind in the villa. It comes to the yard. Step, just across the courtyard, then jump over the fence. Jumped out. Several girls looked at Xiao Haitzi and were stunned. What's wrong? At that moment, they also quickly got up and headed outside the villa. Outside, Yi Yuni was riding the wind-chasing leopard quickly towards the villa. The next moment, chasing the wind leopard saw a black figure jumping out of the villa. He was immediately startled. The whole body suddenly braked. A tail flick and drift stopped. Yi Yuni, you are afraid of a hammer. Then, he watched Xiao Haitzi coming towards him. Then, she threw herself into his arms. Yi Yuni hugged Xiao Haitzi and petted the dog. Good guy, this guy is really enthusiastic. Later, several girls also came out and were happy to see Yi Yuni come back. Husband, you're back safely, Jo Ywe said. Then he welcomed Yi Yuni back, as the mission going well. Good luck. Yi Yuni looked at it and thought, he could inform those strangers that the banquet will continue tonight. This rule cannot be stopped. You have to continue it every day from now on and make it a habit. However, the order has to be changed. After sitting in the villa for a while, he went out, found a few strangers, and asked them to inform them. Evening. The feast is about to begin. Here, many strangers are also coming towards Yi Yunyi's villa. Old Zhang, wasn't it supposed to be your daughter tonight? What's going on? Why was it suddenly postponed? A stranger looked at Lao Zhang and also asked. Several strangers next to him were also confused and looked at Lao Zhang one after another. Lao Zhang looked at everyone, helpless. Don't ask him about this. How did he know? Isn't this nonsense? This is Lord Yi's arrangement. I can't arrange this for Lord Yi, right? Lao Zhang said, feeling frightened in his heart. Master Yi, could it be that he doesn't like his daughter? He is also planning to get married to Mr. Yi. If this goes to waste. The other aliens nodded after listening to Lao Zhang's words. After all, Master Yi not only showed extraordinary strength in the alien beast tide. Today, I even received a rare early gold beast, the red flame tiger, as a mount. Such strength. There is no way they can match it. Far from it. Let's not worry about it. Mr. Yi is giving us a banquet to give us face. Let's go over quickly. Yes, but who is Mr. Yi getting married to today? In one sentence, it stumped everyone. I didn't hear Lao Zhou and the others mention that she was their daughter, so I don't know. It's true, but don't worry, you'll find out when you go there. That's right, we don't care, we can't control it, right? Everyone was talking and walking. Not far away, there were many strangers arriving in groups. But there are also doubts in my heart. As we approached the villa, we saw the villa decorated with lights and colorful decorations. It was a festive scene again. Night falls. Everyone is here too. Seeing Yi Yunyi put on the groom's clothes again, many young strangers were envious. After all, this is Yi Yi's groom. Who wouldn't be envious? However, now no one knows who the girl is tonight. When a strange person is waiting. Next moment, outside the villa, a figure appears. Phoenix crown, chalet, a festive red dress. On the face, the makeup is exquisite. Liame Yinko. Those lips make people want to kiss them as soon as they look at them. Everyone looked at the face that became even more stunning after applying makeup. In an instant, the whole audience was shocked. Everyone's eyes were wide open and they couldn't believe who they were seeing. Who is it? Here, even Jo Ywe and others are confused. They looked at the new person who was about to enter their big family. This is City Lord, Bai Ji Shi. Wu Kao, City Lord. A strange person couldn't help but shouted, and everyone was brought back from the shock. Then, they saw Bai Jixi wearing a phoenix crown and a halo, walking forward step by step. Here, Yi Yunyi also came over and stretched out his hand. Bai Jixi put her little hand on Yi Yunyi's hand. This moment, everyone's eyes were filled with shock. No one expected that the person who was going to marry Mr. Yi tonight would be the city lord Bai Jixi. This is too scary. Now, the two strongest people in our barrier are together. Oh my god, how strong will the child born from Lord Yi and the city lord be? I can't even imagine it. The strangers below all started talking about it. On the stage, a ceremony was held. After the ceremony, Bai Jixi stood on the stage. Looking at the strangers around him, he didn't show any shyness and just took Yi Yunyi's arm. Now, I'm going to announce something solemn, Bai Jixi said seriously. One sentence made everyone who was already tipsy become nervous. No one dared to say a word in private, they all looked at Bai Jixi on the stage. City Lord, what are you talking about? So serious. I will resign from my position as City Lord starting today, and my husband will take over as City Lord. One sentence fell on everyone's ears. They were also stunned. The mayor wants to resign. Mr. Yi takes over. Everyone looked at Bai Jixi. This was a direct notification to them. No one of them dared to refute. Jo Ywe and others also listened to Bai Jixi's words and looked at her immediately. Then he looked at Yi Yunyi. My husband has become the new city lord. Subsequently, a clever stranger stood up. Raise your glass. Lord Yecheng, let me toast you. I did it. After saying that, he drank the wine in his hand. That's quite generous. Others looked at it and stood up one after another, picking up their wine glasses. City Lord, I respect you. From now on, we will listen to you and build the nebula barrier together. I did it. Done. After saying this sentence, everyone drank the wine in their hands. After a while, the banquet is over. Everyone also left. This way, Yi Yuni looked at Bai Jixi and realized that it was time to get married. In the room, Yi Yuni looked at Bai Jixi. At this time, Bai Jixi no longer had the majesty and seriousness she had just now. Then her face turned red and she looked like a little woman. She looked at the ground and suddenly thought in her mind. What will she do now when she is solo? Will it hurt? Ah, no one taught her this. While thinking about it, Yi Yuni closed the curtains. Then, that's it. Get married. The next day, morning. Jo Ywe and others got up. The Han sisters looked at Jo Ywe with stunned expressions on their faces. Jo Ywe had some dark circles under her eyes. Sister, what's wrong with you? Didn't you sleep well last night? The Han sisters asked. Here, Jo Ywe looked at them and said faintly, Sister Bai is indeed a stranger, her physical strength is just different. In one sentence, everyone understood. After all, Jo Ywe's room was closest to the room where the wedding took place. I'm afraid I had dark circles under my eyes because I worked so late. The other side, Yi Yuni also got up, and the next moment, a light screen popped up in front of him. Congratulations to the host for successfully marrying a wife. Reward Juyu's energy to enter the second level. Strength increase and duration increase. Oh, this thing is pretty good. Yi Yuni looked at the reward and raised the corner of his mouth. This time, his strength increased even more. Nice one. He looked at the light curtain. Name, Yi Yuni. Height, 185 centimeters. Level, mid-golden stage. Skills, rapid absorption, God-level hunting skills, second stage of Juyu Chi, God-level movement skills. Weapon, Tomahawk level 1. Props, 19 divine beast control pills. He got up and went out. Go down. Here, after Yi Yuni left, Bai Jixi poked her head out from under the quilt. Watching Yi Yuni leave, she thought about last night with a shy look on her face. More exotic beasts than exotic beasts. Bai Jixi complained. Also ready to get up. After going down, Yi Yuni looked at everyone, and then ate breakfast. Where's Sister Bai? The Han sisters asked. Still asleep. After Yi Yuni finished speaking, Han Bingshe snickered. Yes, I worked hard last night and was so tired. I need to have a good rest. Although I am a stranger, I am not an Iron Man. Oh, Yi Yuni looked at her. How about you share some of the firepower tonight? Han Bingshe. He stopped talking now, face flushed. The sisters next to me are watching this. How can you say such a thing? Here, Xiao Haitzi watched everyone eating and came over. Yi Yuni looked at it. There are no strange animals for it to eat now. Otherwise, just kill a storm-chasing leopard and let it eat it. If the storm-chasing leopards outside knew what Yi Yuni was thinking at this time, they would definitely feel 10,000 mmp in their hearts. The next moment, the light curtain pops up again. Congratulations to the host wife for her successful pregnancy. Get a reward of 500 kilograms of God-level animal food. Ah, this. Can it still be like this? Yi Yuni looked at it and felt helpless. I was so sleepy that I came up with a pillow. He looked at Xiao Haitzi. Fine. At that moment, he led Xiao Haitzi towards the courtyard. I came to the yard and found a bowl for it. Then he flipped his wrist, and a large bag of animal food appeared. He grabbed a few handfuls and put them in the dog bowl. Eat, eat, you're hungry. Before Yi Yuni could say anything, Xiao Haitzi pounced on him. Then there was eating. After eating for a while, it went directly into a dormant state. Are you full after eating so little? Yi Yuni looked at it and was also stunned. It's truly a god-level animal food. This 500 kilograms can be eaten for a long time. When Yi Yuni was thinking about this, the next moment, a clicking sound was heard. Yi Yuni looked at the little Haitzi under his feet, and his size suddenly grew bigger. At the moment, he looked at Xiao Haitzi. A curtain of light also rose in front of him. Variety. Moon-eating serious. Bloodline. Pure. Level. Early gold. Golden early stage. Good guy. This guy just made a breakthrough like this. Ah, what the hell. Just ate this little animal food. You know, when he broke through before, he relied on the tide of alien beasts. So many crystal nuclei. Just look at the breakthrough. For a moment, Yi Yuni also focused on the animal food. Otherwise, try it. As soon as this idea came up, Yi Yuni quickly gave it up. What the hell, why are you not joking around? However, when this guy reaches the early golden stage, he can effectively guard the nebula barrier. That's a good thing too. Let it sleep. Here, when Yi Yuni went back, he saw Bai Jixi sitting at the dining table eating. Without the status of city lord, she has no obstacles in dealing with girls. Seeing Yi Yuni coming back, Bai Jixi also blushed. Hubby, have you finished your meal? I won't eat, you can eat. Yi Yuni went out. After a while, several girls also came out. Ah, little Heitzi has grown up again. Han Bingyu looked at little Heitzi and then introduced it to Bai Jixi. Sister Bai, this is little Heitzi, a strange beast raised by my husband. It is really powerful. Alien beast. Bai Jixi stared at Xiao Heitzi, but for a moment she didn't know what kind it was. It's really strange. Husband, what kind of strange beast is this? Bai Jixi asked. Next moment, the deputy general is here. Then, Bai Jixi's sweet voice came from her husband. At that moment, his eyes widened and he felt like goosebumps were rising on his body. City Lord, when did you have such a tone? Or for a man? It seems that City Lord Yi conquered her last night. Here, Bai Jixi also noticed the deputy general, and his face suddenly turned red. It's over, I've been heard, the persona I've been working on for so many years is ruined. What's wrong? Yi Yuni asked when he saw the deputy general coming over. City Lord, it's urgent. It's from another barrier. Other barriers. When Yi Yuni heard this, he immediately looked at what the deputy general handed over. It's a mutated pigeon. Compared with the doves before the end of the world, they have become larger and have wider wings. As for the rest, not much has changed. Seeing Yi Yuni looking at the pigeon in a daze, Bai Jixi also explained to him, this is a mutated pigeon after the end of the world. It has also undergone some training and is used to deliver messages between barriers. Yi Yuni thought. Then he took it. Take out the message on its feet. Watch. It's from the waterfront rampart. Yi Yuni looked at it and spoke slowly. Waterfront barrier. One sentence. The eyes of the two Han sisters suddenly shone. After all, they are the children of the Han family in the seaside barrier. But before, Zhang Cheng and his group not only robbed the Han family, but also robbed them. Thanks for meeting Yi Yuni. Otherwise, their fate is unimaginable. Bai Jixi listened and came over to watch. There is not much information on the information. Just ask Bai Jixi to come over and have something to discuss. Dongfang Ruiyu, the Lord of Seaside Barrier City, is a stranger with strength in the early golden stage. Seaside Barrier's strength is also unique among the several barriers in this area, so Seaside Barrier has gradually become the leader of the surrounding barriers. Bai Jixi said with a smile on her face, however, our barrier should be the strongest among these barriers now. Okay, since you're invited, I want to go over and see what's going on. Yi Yuni packed up the information. Jixi, come with me. Good. Just as Bai Jixi finished saying a good word, the Han sisters also came over. There was anxiety and hope on his face. Husband, can we go there with you? Huh. Yi Yuni looked at the two of them. What's wrong? Han Bingshe bit her lip. We used to belong to the seaside barrier, but Zhang Cheng and his group robbed our Han family's things and then took us here. We also want to take this opportunity to go back to the seaside barrier to see our father and let him know that we are still alive. Maybe, he already thinks that we are all dead now. Husband, look, okay. What's wrong with this? Yi Yuni looked at the two of them. You guys told me before, why are you hiding it from me? Real. For a moment, the two of them listened to Yi Yuni's words with excitement on their faces. Can you really go home and see this? Of course, they also know that they are now Yi Yuni, but this time, they can go back and see their father and family. It also lets them know that they are still alive. Let them stop worrying. What about you? Do you want to go and have a look? Yi Yuni then looked at Jo Ywe and others, asking for their opinions. Here, Jo Ywe thought that in the end of the world, the barriers should be relatively far apart, and the roads are now abandoned or destroyed. If you want to cross between barriers, there will be greater risks. Even if her husband is powerful now, if she is really in danger, she, an ordinary person, will become a burden. I won't go. After all, I am not a stranger, and I don't want to go home like the two sisters. I will wait for you to come back at home. After Jo Ywe finished speaking, the others also shook their heads. Yi Yunyi looked at it and thought about it. He could take Kai Yanhu with him. Having this guy's pressure would save him a lot of trouble along the way. However, if Kai Yanhu is transferred away, he and Bai Jixi also left. The barrier is empty. While Yi Yunyi was thinking about it, Xiao Haixi also came over and begged for Wenking. For a moment, Yi Yunyi's eyes lit up when he looked at it. Oh my god, why did you forget it? In the early golden stage, it's still the moon-eating Sirius. At that moment, he pulled Jo Ywe aside. This time when we go out, the power in the barrier will be relatively empty. If anything happens, you take this guy with you. This guy, don't look at it like this, it is also a powerful beast. Quote. Yi Yunyi said, pointing to Xiao Haixi next to him. Xiao Haixi seemed to understand Yi Yunyi's words and raised his head immediately. He looked unconvinced. What does, don't look at it like this, mean? What does it look like? Jo Ywe also squatted down and touched Xiao Haixi. Hubby, it doesn't look as powerful as those leopards. Hearing this, Xiao Haixi rolled his eyes. No, the same. Yi Yunyi whispered in Jo Ywe's ear, this guy is a powerful beast in the early golden stage. One sentence. Although the sound is subtle. But when it fell into Jo Ywe's ears, it was like thunder. She was stunned there, looking at Xiao Haixi next to her in disbelief. What, husband, what did you just say? Is it a powerful beast in the early golden stage? Is this the golden early stage? The other side. The Han sisters looked at Yi Yunyi pulling Jo Ywe and whispering, and they also pouted, Sister Bai, look, my husband is still pulling Sister Jo to whisper. They won't even take us. Then, after Yi Yunyi finished speaking, he looked at Bai Jixi and the others, let's go. Cleaned up a bit. Everyone is setting off. Come to the city gate. Yi Yunyi walked up to Kai Yanhu. This guy is still sleeping there. Then, Yi Yunyi patted it. The red flame tiger wrinkled its huge tiger nose and raised his eyes, with anger in his eyes. As if it wants to see who disturbed its clear dream. But the next moment, I saw it was Yi Yunyi. It suddenly stood up. Then bow your head and surrender. Then, Yi Yunyi hugged Han Bingyu. With one step, he jumped directly onto the back of the red flame tiger. Bai Jixi was also ordinary and jumped up holding Han Bingshe. Then the red flame tiger headed into the distance. Run all the way. Yi Yunyi felt like there was wind in his ears. Several people looked at the scene along the road, which was not too desolate. The old roads are ruined and the body is ruined. Plants of all kinds poke out of the ground. Former high-rise buildings were also turned into ruins due to the expansion of plants. Soil and rubble are piled everywhere. As the Han sisters watched, they had never seen much of the scene outside the barrier. Now my heart is extremely sad. Yi Yunyi took a picture of the red flame tiger again. The speed of the red flame tiger has once again increased by a level. Heading towards the waterfront barrier. At the same time, the entrance to the seaside rampart. A girl in a cheongsam stood at the door. The black cheongsam highlighted her fair skin. A pair of slender legs. Plus a curvy figure. And an appearance that will captivate the entire country. Don't be too charming. The girl stood at the door, looking at the city lords of other fortresses coming from a distance. At that moment, with a smile on his face, he moved forward towards the people in front. In front, several city lords also came together. Then he looked at Dongfang Ruiyu in front of him. Although she is a girl, they don't dare to have any contempt. Joke. The alien in the early golden stage. Is that a joke to you? They are all in the late silver stage. How can they have the guts to look down on such a strong person? Everyone, are you all here? Dongfang Ruiyu looked at a few people with a smile on his face. Several people also nodded. Dongfang City Lord, you called us over, what happened? Dongfang Ruiyu didn't speak, and then just watched. It seems that Bai Jixi, the City Lord of Nebula Barrier, didn't come. She and Bai Jixi have met several times. After all, they are both young, both girls, and both have become city lords. Therefore, they also have a common language and can be said to have the best relationship among the surrounding barriers. The city lord of Nebula Barrier hasn't arrived yet. Let's all enter the barrier first. I'll talk about it together when everyone is here. Dongfang Ruiyu said, and then led everyone into the barrier. Before leaving, he also explained the guards at the fortress gate. If the city lord of the Nebula Barrier comes later, bring him to the living room. Arriving in the living room, Dongfang Ruiyu also made tea for everyone. After that smooth and flowing technique, the aroma of tea lingers in the living room. Everyone drank tea, and after brewing a pot of tea for several times. Outside the barrier, Yi Yuni and the others also arrived. Here, the people guarding the city looked at Qianyu, their eyes widened, they couldn't believe what they saw. In one moment, it's time to beat the drum. He picked up the drumstick, and just as he was about to drop it, a hand grabbed him next to him. What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you playing the drums? Didn't you see that? That's the early golden beast, the red flame tiger. Shit, if you take a closer look, that's my horse. What? In an instant, the man turned his head and looked over. Then I was confused. Really are. There are actually several people on the back of Kai Yanhu. They hurried down and were at the city gate. Then he looked at the approaching Kai Yanhu. As the red flame tiger approached, they could hear their own heartbeats more and more clearly. Almost jumping out. After all, this is a strange beast in the early golden stage. I am the city lord of Nebula Barrier, and I was invited to come to your place. Nebula Barrier. In an instant, the guards remembered the instructions given by their city lord. Immediately he breathed a sigh of relief. Good guy. Is the city lord of Nebula Barrier so awesome? Just get an early gold mount. Guys, please come with me. The guard was also leading the way, and the red flame tiger under Yi Yuni's crotch followed unhurriedly. On the tiger's back, the Han sisters were also very excited when they looked at the situation in the seaside barrier. Finally home. At the moment, they also miss their father and family members. Yi Yuni looked at them and asked Kai Yanhu to squat down and put them down. You guys go home first, we'll finish our work and go find you. Okay, thank you, husband. The Han sisters then headed towards their home very familiarly. After a while, in the living room, a lot of tea was also drunk. Several city lords also became impatient. Did the city lord of Nebula Barrier not receive the news? Yeah, why don't you come over? Is it possible that we are putting it on the map? A middle-aged male city leader said, and he also snorted. Everyone is about the same strength, so why should we put it on the line? Still not invited. Dongfang Ruiyu also knew who Bai Jixi was. He probably received the news too late, so he immediately said, please be patient. After all, the Nebula Barrier is the farthest from here. Just wait. After hearing what Dongfang Ruiyu said, several people became silent. But, the next moment, outside, the sound of panic could be heard. City Lord, the City Lord of Nebula Barrier is here. One sentence brought a smile to Dongfang Ruiyu's face. Coming. Next to them, the expressions of a few people softened a little, and they finally came. Oh, it's finally here. I thought it would be longer. After the man finished speaking, the person who heard the report added, But what? The man immediately scolded. What's going to go wrong again? There are a lot of things going on in this Nebula Barrier. Special for my sister. The person who reported the report was scolded and remained silent. Dongfang Ruiyu stared at the man. There is anger in those beautiful eyes. Men also know better than to shut up. But what? Dongfang Ruiyu also asked. However, the city owner of Nebula Barrier seems to have been replaced. This new city lord came on a mount. That mount is a red flame tiger. Quote. Call. A moment. These words were like thunder, exploding throughout the room. Boom. Everyone feels that their brains are a little hard to turn around. What did this man say just now? What did you ride? Did they hear it correctly? Kai Yanhu. The powerful beast in the early golden stage, the red flame tiger. Your brain is broken. How can it be? Dongfang Ruiyu also looked at that person, really? Absolutely true. After receiving a positive reply, Dongfang Ruiyu headed outside directly. Several city lords also looked at each other, also heading outside. However, the city lord who just spoke staggered when he left. There is a feeling of sloppy steps and a slightly unsteady stance. Outside, Dongfang Ruiyu watched. He was also stunned. His eyes were wide open, looking ahead. Suddenly it was a huge tiger 5 feet long. Red flame tiger. You can't go wrong. When the city lords behind came out, they were all stunned on the spot. The shock in my heart could not be greater. Mounts are all in the early golden stage. So, what should be the strength of the new city lord of Nebula Barrier? Cannot imagine. Horrible. Here, Shengguan Ruiyu looked at Yi Yuni and Bai Jixi next to Kai Yanhu. Jixi, you don't want to be the city lord anymore. Then, Dongfang Ruiyu said. Bai Jixi also introduced him openly, the new city lord as him, my husband Yi Yuni. While saying that, Bai Jixi also held Yi Yuni's arm. Husband, good guy, you are getting married directly, right? So what are you doing here today? Showing affection. Here, Yi Yuni also looked at Dongfang Ruiyu. She is truly a beauty that captivates the country. Yi Yuni then went over and shook hands with her. It feels good in little hands and extremely soft. Yi Yuni was condescending. In addition, Dongfang Ruiyu leaned forward slightly, and a touch of snow-white color suddenly appeared in Yi Yuni's eyes. Sure enough, the Cheongsam could not restrain the turbulent waves. Yi Yuni looked at the deep trench extending downward. Girl, I can see that you are a person who can achieve great things. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.